Good. That's good. Open this file. Get the map of hell. Good. Okay. Good. Good. Wonderful. Everything is coming together. So, Armis, do you have any idea what's going to be going on or what has been going on? Do you
Not
recall
particularly.
roughly? Okay. So, we can back it up a little bit while we are waiting on Lee. The short version is, you know how you got this pact with a certain Mephistopheles?
Just a certain one. There are so many, it's hard
Yeah,
to tell
exactly.
which.
It's a Mephistopheles. Not necessarily the Mephistopheles, but a Mephistopheles. Anyway, you have a pact with a Mephistopheles, and you are essentially indebted to him in life, and he gives you powers. And in death, you will become a soldier for him. And the ultimate goal is he wants to use you as leverage to, of course, overthrow a particular leader of, well, not leader per se, but dominator, controller, demon. Well, not demon. He's really a devil.
More of a douchebag, but
Yeah, uh, basically to overthrow Asmodeus, Asmodeus, however it is pronounced, and those were simple provisions, and he would continue to power you. But some time ago, and I don't mean that in terms of a long distance, but that it was a particular amount of time, a rather short amount of time, you went to the wedding of Julia and Wallenstein in a far off land as the plus one, plus one, plus one, plus one, plus one extension of a wizard of unknown power by the name of Arata. And there, you had a conversation with him. I'm guessing you don't remember much about that conversation.
well, I remember that he asked me, how I got the necromancers to help us, and I asked him to give us a little bit of insight onto how we, revived the.
Uh huh.
Trying to fucking revive. I can't remember his name for now, and he really didn't answer me.
You don't remember his answer?
He's like, yep, That's all you
Uh-huh.
gave me.
I remember that you were drinking drinks without remember drinking them.
I suspect that his magic had something to do with you not remembering that conversation. But anyway,
A little bit of a mystical MIB flasher.
after this, you came back into the proper world and the deep depths of the Shadow Vault, and beneath a town of dwarves to go try to get a necromancer from the drow. But when you were down there, and as you were working your way and going through the caves underneath, you had sent. Oh, geez, I just forgot the name of your murder bird. Hadram. I was on such a roll. I swear I had it going for a long time. Anyway, you had sent Hadram around to sort of scout, but at a certain point, you know, you just it's like he was gone. You couldn't sense him anymore. And it was almost like you started to feel kind of weird. But you couldn't sense Hadram, and by the time you got to the depths of it, you tried to draw your mystical blade from your hand, and nothing came. And you started to get quite worried. But you played cool. Your friends bluffed their way into getting a warlord banished by his queen, who then bluffed his way into kidnapping a necromancer. And you all found yourselves transported into the city center early in the night or late in the evening, of the city, the college town even, of Terenia. And around you, one is an active fountain bubbling away. Two are several students in academia that are looking up at a section of sky where you can see above the stars are disappearing. Anyway, that's roughly where we all are. Everybody good? Any questions?
Mhm. Nothing here.
None for me. That not
Okay. Currently, Ormus, if you attempt to use magic, unless it's a cantrip, with the exception of the cantrip provided by your special pact, the darkness one, you are, for whatever reason, no matter what you try to put in, no magic occurs right now. But all of your combat stats are the same if you have an actual physical weapon.
yeah,
Cool.
which I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, unfortunately, that is where you are right now. You have no idea why. You can't sense Hadram, and that's where you are. So,
Just a side note, as a character who has a partial warlock subclass, I am now terrified.
yeah,
Me too.
that's perfectly fair. But you are in the city of Tyrinia. It is very late at night or very early in the morning, and Philbin's teleport took you to the sort of city center. You have 2 drow with you. There are also a family of drow waiting somewhere in this city, as well as a couple of allies. Quite a few. Some of them live here, some you have transported here in your own means. What would you all like to do?
At the end of the last session, did you say there are people? You said there are people looking at the sky,
Yeah.
and this thing is going to pull out a spyglass. But are there anybody around with like telescopes or anything that might get a better?
Yes, there are telescopes that are being used, and spy glasses, and a couple of things that are similar. It's even kind of odd. There's people that are taking, it almost looks like paintings. They're sort of like dot etchings. They're trying to mark where the stars are the best they can. And there are quite a few people observing it, and you can hear them talking amongst themselves as to what could possibly be causing it.
Okay, so just a couple of questions. They're actively disappearing before us currently.
Well, no, not
Okay.
necessarily, but it's a large section of the sky that now has no stars. If you watch long enough, I mean, from what they're saying that the stars are disappearing, and
Yeah.
you can just see a large dark area. It's entirely possible that if you wait long enough, you will actually see one disappear. But by their word, they're disappearing, and you simply see that stars are not here, to be fair.
Question:
Yeah.
would this patch of starless sky possibly be in any way, shape, or form dragon shaped?
Perhaps I'm trying to think, like an insight or a perception check, perhaps.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if there was any check I could make about any sort of recollection of anything I might know about this.
Mm-hmm.
So you said,
Using my dice, and I did get a nat 20 against the map.
Tremendous.
I won't worry. I won't bother with rolling then.
Oh, you say so. Molly Mortys, you look up, and as you look at it, it's difficult to tell because the only defining features are the things that aren't there, and you don't really even know what's not there to begin with, because I'm assuming you're not an expert of the stars too much. I mean, you know the stars, and you can probably see that a portion of a constellation or two seems to be missing, but it's just from your sort of perspective. Imagine holding a basketball out at arm's length. So it's a gap roughly about a foot away, about a foot from you, or rather, a foot wide, a foot or two from you. So it's a pretty large section of the sky, and it's only maybe about 30 degrees up from the horizon, but it does seem almost round. It's almost like a circle. You could sort of imagine an entire circle of darkness being there. It looks like the bottom of the circle is even hidden below the buildings, but and it also seems to be very slow. These people, it looks like they've been at it for hours.
I still think we should get going.
Yeah.
I quickly will stop and ask someone around who's trying to, sketch the flow of things.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, were there any events that happened? Any loud noises, flashing lights, one bright light, sudden silence, anything that happened before they started to disappear that anybody noticed?
He says that he doesn't know, but I mean, he doesn't think that there was anything. People just started telling him to go out and start looking at things, and the others just sort of say, no, we just looked up and some of them were gone, and more are gone as we watch. You can see one older fellow who seems to be calculating something. He's a dwarf, if anyone is curious, because I'm slightly racist in that sense and give the technical guides to dwarves. But he says that, by his calculations, that by this route, if it keeps spreading, it will eat every star in the universe in the next day or two, maybe 3. He's not very good at math.
And just as an out of character reminder, we so far have about a day, we think, until Tiamat reaches Bakata, right?
You know how long it took you to sail from Bakata to Verbanville, and you last left her at Verbanville, and that it took you about a week to 10 days, and you know that basically it's been nearly that time. So if she's going as fast as you all went, then they'll be reaching Bakata within a day or two. It's tough to tell because weather being what it is, it's you can't be 100% sure, but you think it'll probably be a day or two, maybe.
God, I really hate to do this without Lee right now, but I mean, I guess honestly, like, the only thing we can do is just like rush to Bakata, because if it's Tiamat related, there's nothing we can really do about it until we either put her down or stop her or whatever. But if it's not, we still have Tiamat, we can't let destroy Bakata. So like, the Tiamat's the biggest threat right now. There's nothing we can do about it. So like,
Yeah. I still do feel like going up again with, I don't know. It would be good to have Bahamut on our side, but we don't have the time to go save him. We don't also have the time to go hunting for the net. So like, our options are very limited in what we can actually do.
Well, we currently have, I point to Zora, we have our necromancer here. We have stuff. I think now is the time to try it if we're going to try to resurrect him.
If you look at her, she seems to have gone over to a telescope where several nerds are trying to get the pretty lady to look through the telescope. She's looking through, and they're looking at her. Anyway,
They do not know.
Is that a Big Bang reference?
it's a college town.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, nice telescope. What does it look at? The sky? Can I look? And they're like, oh, yeah. Why? You look exotic. Anyway,
didn't Lee have something he was?
it's possible. I don't know. We're minus a Lee. I don't know. I can't speak for him.
Yeah, I can't remember because I know he had something. He had a plan to eat, but I can't remember what it was. I'm just asking the rest of the party if they do remember. Because I can go
No.
like I can go knock on his door, but he said this morning he wasn't feeling too well. So
We understand it happens,
Uh,
but what would you all like to do?
isn't it? Don't we have to travel on foot to the place where Bahamut is buried, quote unquote?
So, this sort of mental exercise, you all went through it a couple of different times. The idea now, as I understand it, is, and of course it changes every time you guys walk through the plan, but the issue is that you have to bring back or by some way incorporate a god soul into a body,
Yeah.
and that gets complicated. The only part of his body that you have is mummified and or rather fossilized, and it's not even the whole of the body. You have a rough idea of where the rest of his body is that you might be able to get to. You might be able to make a new body. You might be able to put it into a different body. You could transfer his soul to a living body, or kill his soul and resurrect him, although you're not sure on that one, or maybe some sort of a resurrection straight up. You don't know. Um,
Yeah.
it's a bit tricky. You have the plan at some point was that you wanted to find someone who had influence over life and death, who could move souls as easily as we move game pieces across the board. And then you wanted to find someone. The idea of the necromancer was someone who could use magics to create or or basically to reconstruct, reconstitute, or even create a body that could take his parts and make a whole of a new. And then you wanted someone. Combination could, whatever you guys want to do, you can't. That was something that was essentially laid out at one point.
Mm.
I was thinking we could just bring Zilra to the heart and show her the heart, show her the soul jar, and basically just ask her, "Hey, is this enough? Do you need more?"
I mean, yeah, in theory that could work. But needing a tremendous amount of magical power is the thing that scares me. Because that radiates give something up. And I don't know if we can afford to give something up right now.
Well, you knew as well, or rather, there was myth. One of the legends that you had come into was a wishing well somewhere on an island in the White Sea, the
Yeah.
coast of which this town is on. Somewhere out there, there might be a well of magic, and also too, there are ways that you might be able to cut steps, but that's one of the things in terms of somewhere you could go that had a tremendous amount of help. A wishing well might be able to help.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to note that I do still have the +3 level incense. I'm not sure if that would be of help.
You do have that.
Maybe.
but I mean, what would we use it for right now? Like,
The ritual? Maybe?
Sure, yeah, I was thinking that would give more magical power.
true. What remind me of how long it lasts? Because I know the effect, I just don't remember how long it lasts.
I believe it takes 8 hours to cast, and
Yeah.
then it lasts like a number of hours. I don't remember.
It's basically you essentially take a long rest, either like meditating in it or sleeping in it, and it imbues your body with spirit or magic or soul or ki. It essentially gives you more power uh, from within or even from without for like a day.
Okay. Unfortunately, I don't. Fuck. I just don't think. I don't know. I honestly don't know. We're so hard under the wire right now.
Um, God, I really don't wanna. The one thing that makes sense in my head is we temporarily split the party, which is we send some of us up to Hope because that's where Bahamut's soul is, right? That's where the egg is.
Yes,
And the
We
heart.
send yeah.
and the heart.
We send some of us up there with the necromancer, get that process started, and then go to Bakata in hopes of at least starting a defense.
Aladrin would be in that second part of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, my thought was Aldrin, Fionn, Lee, and one of the spellcasters, be it if we take Philbin with us or Mollymort, and send the other one with the party to go resurrect,
Yeah.
and send Ormus with the party to go work on resurrecting because he has, whether or not he has power right now, his stuff, his magic is closer to resurrection through any sort of mystical means than mine. Because my stuff is mostly just on the verge of life and death. It's not dealing with crossing over.
Yeah, I think Molly should go to the resurrection because she at least has some kind of magic that can do a variation of resurrection.
Yeah, also, frankly, I'm not tied to Bakata like some of you guys are. So I
Yeah.
prefer that as well.
Yeah.
Now, I will add, Mollymort, that you, of course, don't have any sort of, in terms of the resurrection or moving souls and things, that's well and beyond your skill set currently. You aren't able to do it. And in fact, as you discussed a little bit, right, with Torin, the crazy before, that is even beyond his skill set. The only person that you have seen that can actually restore life and move things around was someone that you met recently, the priestess for Sheila on the island to the far north.
I forgot about her.
Yep, she resurrected the dinosaur that you all killed as if it were nothing.
I forgot
So,
about Daisy.
yep, Daisy Tightfield. It is possible that she, as she said when she did it, that returning life is easy. You just have to get it there, sort of in a sense. That it is possible that maybe she has enough mastery over the forces of life that maybe she can return a soul to a body.
I mean, it feels like she could definitely be able to help. My only worry is that leaves us with more teleportation tomfoolery, teleportation math that we have to figure out because, like, from here we can teleport everywhere we need to go as long as we have a focus. But
Yeah.
once we get there, getting back to where people need to be is the hard part.
Well, okay. If we send Jacob and Mark, not Jacob, Mark, Jacob and Philbin with Molly to get the priestess of Sheila, and then teleport that whole mini party up to Hope, they can do something, and then one of them, either Jacob or Philbin, can teleport back to Bakata.
Yeah, but then that leaves the only, like, I agree. I feel like that's the way to go. But the only thing from there is, even though we can teleport freely without spell slots here, we still need a focus for the place we're teleporting to. And I don't.
Well, we were able to teleport using Molly's holy symbol before.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was like a full day's walk from the place we got to
Yeah.
the you know, so
So from here, essentially, because you have been to a place, you have much more of a chance of getting there. Even though, and if you have an object associated with it, then that helps even more. Molly,
Such as the club. We have the club. That could take us directly to the temple.
Oh yeah, the
it's
club.
possible that the club that was once contained within several trees, deep within the underground gardens of the Temple of Sheila, it's possible that that could take you directly to the heart of the Temple of Sheila.
but the only issue with that is, you know, if we're gonna send some people to, well, teleportation math sucks.
Yeah, in theory, they could be back within the same day
Yeah,
How?
because teleporting there would be more or less instantaneous. Convincing them might take a while, and then teleporting from there to Hope, starting that ritual. Like, we don't even have to stay for the whole ritual to resurrect Bahamut.
Children, we don't have a way to teleport back to Hope yet.
Uh, not from there. I mean, Philbin's been there, but even still, that wouldn't be 100%, would it?
He's spent. Philbin and Jacob are spent, aren't they?
Yes, both of them need a long rest from here to be able to teleport again. They need to recuperate their rituals and their spell slots.
Mm.
I mean, I feel like at this point we have to just table everything and go back to Bacata and take the night to rest and face and organize, you know, whatever
Yeah.
defense we can, because like it's just so close to we can't risk it.
Yeah.
Downside to that, though, is Bacata doesn't have teleportation circles, so that's bringing us down one chance at teleportation to anywhere else, from Hope to Sheila's temple.
As you are having this discussion,
Mhm.
you can see some talking amongst the crowd. One of them goes, oh, yeah, look, there's another one. There's another one. And if you look up, you can see one star just start to darken and dim, and that's it. It's dark. You can't see it anymore.
Does
So
it?
wait, it darkens? It doesn't just like look like it's covered up. It darkens first?
It darkened and then went out of view, as if something was sliding in front of a light, and the light was shining less and less as it was being covered.
So it's not like a light went out. It's like a light was slowly covered. Okay,
Well,
not
if
slowly, but yeah.
again, it's in terms of a size and scale, it's in the same sense like the stars we can in real life measure whether or not a large object is going in front of it because of a flicker, because part of it is covered by a planet. So that's how we can detect exoplanets in that sense, in that it's technically something very large that is being partially obscured to darken, but then in this case it became fully obscured. Anyway, go on.
Well, yeah, I agree that we can't do any teleporting from, or rather, it would be much harder to do any teleporting from Bacata. But also, like, what I'm saying is that it feels like because both Jacob and Philbin have spent their teleportation, we have to just drop everything and go try and protect Bacata and bring down Tia, or at least slow her down, something.
Well, nobody of us has a way to talk to people from long distances, do they? Philbin, do you have message or what?
He is looking over the shoulder of a sketch artist, but he looks over and he nods and he says, "Yes, I've got a message. I will add two. I guess right now probably Mollymort is the most perceptive, and Theon followed. You all see, uh, looking through the crowd, mostly because it's it's kind of in a sense where it's the thing that is so different that stands out. Not that it stands out in and of itself. Like if you can imagine 10 perfectly identical statues of birds and you face them all right, and then you face one left, you can really tell the one on the left, even though all the rest are kind of facing right, even though it's exactly the same. Anyway, you see something that stands out. It draws the eye. And as you look, uh, it's almost difficult. Like you look up and it's like you don't see anything. You just see a person, but you don't know this person. I mean, they seem entirely indescript. They're just like if you had asked yourself to describe themselves a minute later, you wouldn't have been able to think of anything except that they were a person. But as this person continues to walk closer, you can see that they're tall, of about humanoid mid height, half elf, rough features, and a case in his right hand, a briefcase of sorts, a thick uh, kind of briefcase. But as he steps closer, it's as if he just comes into focus, and instantly you can recognize him. This is Jareth, the spy of Terenia, who you have met several times before.
I was wondering if we were going to run into him again anytime.
He steps through the crowd and he is heading directly towards you all. And as he approaches, he smiles and he takes his hat off and holds it in his left hand. And he says, "My friends, so good to see you again. We need to talk." And his face becomes serious.
That's a really generous word.
I'm going to jump up as high as I can and land on his shoulders. It's a long time!
He smiles and says, "Yes, good to see you." And he says, "Yes, Aldrin, it is generous. I'm a generous person. Do you all have somewhere to speak, or would you like to follow me?"
I mean, time is of the essence. We need to just get this over with. We don't just go. Just lead us. We'll follow, I guess.
He begins to walk, and you all are welcome to follow. He moves through the crowd, and he starts to lead you off in a particular direction that you've been in the city a couple of times now. You start to realize where he's heading towards. He seems to be heading towards a side entrance to the Museum of Nautical Construction.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
While we're chatting, or walking rather, I'm going to ask Philbin to see if he can message. Oh fuck! I suddenly can't remember her name. His dragon boo.
Alondria.
Alondria, and
Yeah.
just tell her that this shit's gonna hit the fan if she can do anything to help rally, which I doubt she can.
But
just like
any help is better than no help.
yeah, any contact she has that can help.
Also, please remind me, was Philbin there when we did go to the Temple of Sheila and met Daisy?
Hmm?
The question was Philbin there when we went to the temple and met Daisy?
Philbin was there. Yeah.
You should send a message to her as well, possibly see if she has teleportation, and and also maybe if she can do resurrection stuff for dragons.
All right. You can see him start counting on his fingers as he tries to figure out how to put those in the syllables limited to him by his arcane abilities.
Yeah, and I specify however you need to phrase that.
Yeah.
The point across, because I get the spells are limited.
He nods, and so as you are led in to the well, hang on, let me make sure I don't forget that, as I have like 4 things focused right now. But you wanted him to say what to Alondria?
Basically, if she has anyone that can help out in a fight, a big fight, to let them know that it's coming, and the shit's about to hit the fan, basically.
And teleportation, to see if she has teleportation. That's kind of important, because if she does, then I could teleport there and catch up with her and then teleport back here.
That's different from the message for Alondria. That's the one for Sheila.
Oh, yes, that's the one person I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, even then, the answer is still similar, at least for Alondria, in that she does have people that can fight, and she does have people that can teleport, and you have all of those people.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I figured, but it's
So
good.
that's okay. And from Sheila, you want, or not Sheila, excuse me, for Daisy, you wanted to ask if she could resurrect dragons, if she could teleport, and if what else?
Teleportation is the main one, but also if she could help in any other way.
Okay. Philbin will work on trying to figure out how to send those messages. Considering the time, it's likely that both of those targets are asleep, but who knows? It might be some time before they wake to respond, or maybe they're up. We'll see. So, as Jareth leads you into the Museum of Nautical Construction, he goes up to it and knocks on the door in a series. 4, 2, 3. And then he waits. And you can hear a click as the door opens from the other side. And a relatively older fellow, possibly a janitor, or possibly someone pretending to be a janitor. Whoa. Anyway, the door is opened, and he leads you all in. And you can see that this is the sort of catacombs behind exhibits. And he leads you through tunnels, and you have certain labels on the walls. One of them is Great Claw, and he continues to lead you in and through, and soon going out of a secret passage into the dark hallways in this closed museum towards the exhibit of the giant ship that Aladrin also wants to punch, named the Freya, the largest ship ever constructed. What you suspect to be the sort of central focus, the kind of flagship for this flotilla, this invasion of the world, possibly even the current home of Tiamat herself.
By the
And-
way, was
yeah.
Ormus around when we were hanging out with Jareth the first time? I don't think you
Nope.
met him, did he? Okay,
No.
Ormus, Jareth. He's the new person on our party. He's the guy that kind of got us all caught up in this, and he's known as the eel, and we kind of thought he betrayed us. But things are complicated, so I'm not really sure at this point. I just know that he wanted to get important documents out of Bukata, and I think he succeeded in that. We also briefly had a bag of holding from him, but he took it back, which would have been really much more useful than my hat.
Well, it's nice to meet you, I guess.
He says, I'm not nearly as bad as they make me sound. And you can tell from his smile that you have enough insight to know is absolutely fake. That, yeah, he probably is as bad as they make him sound. But anyway, he takes you towards this exhibit, this model, this scale model of this ship here. And he motions to it. And he looks at Aladrin, and he says, how would you like to punch that?
I've been planning on it
Punch.
personally, but
He takes the case and puts it down on the table next to the model, and he opens it. And inside, you can see a bag that, by possible coincidence, possibly not, seems to be, if not the same, but similar, or if not the same, then at least similar. The bag of holding that Molly Mort referenced before. And he removes the bag of holding from this case, closes the case, opens the bag of holding, reaches into the bag of holding, and withdraws a common hammer, relatively small. And he holds that out to Aldrin, says, hold this a minute.
alright.
And then he reaches in and pulls out a nail, It looks to be a simple forged iron nail, and he holds it out to whomever is closest and says, "Hold this if you would."
Uh,
He hands it off, and then he reaches in again and pulls out a hat. And you see that this hat looks identical to that he was wearing before. And he holds this out to someone else and says, "If you could take this."
I'll grab it.
All right, and he hands that to you. And I should add too that this hat, it's like it's akin to like a cabbie's hat where it's like a brim and big bushy kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like a cabbie's hat, but with it almost looks like a very very small jester sort of horns that go off in various directions, but no bells, like a very frilly cabbie's hat. Anyway,
I think at this
and
point, Fionn activates Detect Magic.
oh,
I'll be telling you to try reach into it. Just whisper it to you.
yeah, telling him to detect or to reach into the hat. Fionn, if you reach into this hat that he handed you, it seemingly is an ordinary hat, or at least a hat that is exactly the size of a hat. As you try to reach into it, there's nothing if you reach into it. But if you activate Detect Magic and you look at the objects, one, the bag of holding is very magical. The hammer is not magical. The nail is not magical. The hat is magical. And there's one more object that, well, a sort of object that Jareth pulls out from it. And it is a lock of golden hair wrapped with ribbon. And he holds this between his fingers and smiles. And he says, "With these things," and he points at the Freya, "you all will hopefully be able to destroy that."
All right, can we get to the point very quickly? I apologize. I know you're trying to do a whole big moment here, but we have like less than 24 hours to stop complete and total destruction.
What are we gonna do? Cause it to fail a health inspection? Like, I'm not exactly seeing the point of what a hair, a lock, a hammer, and a nail can do.
Well, my thought is that it was for scrying.
He sighs a little bit, and his face falls just a little as you just completely take away what he's trying to do. But he says, "Fine. This belongs to what we believe is an ensign stationed aboard it. With it, you can teleport to the ship, and on the ship, you can hammer this nail into one of the walls so we can teleport to it as many times as we need, perfectly, at whatever location you decide. The hat," and he holds out his hat and tosses it towards, I'm guessing, Ormus, who hasn't taken anything yet. He says, "With this hat, it is a hat of disguise, both of them. You wear them, you can choose to look like anything or anyone, and you will look that way as long as you keep it on, as long as you want to. It should allow you all to sneak aboard the ship, do whatever chaos you like, and if necessary, we can go back again and again and again to do whatever damage we can until it's destroyed." Good enough?
We may not have time for that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a day until the world ends.
He says it's a day until the fleet gets to Picata, yes?
And the dragon.
To the
And
best
he's-
of our assumption.
And he says, "Yes, and this gets us to the fleet. And if we sink the fleet, it cannot get to Picata, can it?"
Well, there's still the dragon.
Yeah, dragons tend to fly, if you hadn't noticed.
Yeah, they don't need boats.
Which, don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly grateful for being able to stop the fleet, but...
Yeah. The fleet is about half the problem.
I'd say more like the third of the problem.
He sighs and says, "All right, fine." And puts the hair back in the the bag of holding, holds his hand out for the hat.
No. I still think this is worthwhile doing, because if we stop the fleet, then that's an army that we don't...
Gotta fight.
He says, "I'm doing everything I can."
I understand. I apologize for my snippiness. I'm just, I'm kind of stressed. We're really close to a deadline.
Yeah.
And the dead is very literal in that phrase. I only worry about the morality of it because, I mean, I'm okay with sinking that ship, but I don't. And Fion's eyes dart quickly over to Lee. I don't know if everybody involved would be.
Yeah, I know, and I know I said this before, and it wasn't very well received. We could always just keep doing what we're doing and then take Tiamat on when we're fully prepared.
Bakata will not fall. I'm sorry. I can't allow
Yeah.
that, and Lee's not going to allow that.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's just
Jareth interrupts and asks, so you all have been exploring a little bit and searching things. Do you have even any idea why she's going after Bakata?
conquest.
I mean, honestly, if you ask me,
Well, why Bakata? She passed several other larger cities to get there.
that's what I was gonna get at. Is if you ask me, I think there's some sort of relic or something that we still haven't found. This is just my own personal, thing that's been running in my head that could help.
He
with
shakes his
resurrecting.
head and he says, "No, as someone who was tasked with getting every historically significant valuable out of that city, I assure you, there is nothing of interest left in that entire patch of dirt. No offense.
I mean,
There's nothing. I can't imagine what she would possibly be going after there."
you don't know what you don't know. I mean, we've recently
Yeah.
learned of something pretty major, someone pretty major who, if they are brought back, if their chess piece is put back on the board, they could they could give her a run for her money.
And this chess piece is in Bakata.
No, not necessarily, but we need to do some things to bring them up to snuff to be available. And what's been going on in the back of my head is that there's something lost to history still in Bakata that could bring them to.
Just checking. Did the drow and everybody come with us?
You're saying, Mollymort?
Did the drow?
Told them to not. They sort of followed behind. And you can see the watching eyes of Real just listening.
Good.
Yeah.
Real, I'm curious. What's your opinion on all this? Do you does your culture? I don't know. What do you?
He says that I don't know of this Bakata. Does it have wealth?
Yeah.
Well, relatively. No. In fact, Jareth actually just says no when you say yes.
Yeah, Fion does. He doesn't say yes or no, but he kind of makes that face that's like, you know.
Is it placement next to something or resource?
I mean, there was a relic there that was said to be the heart of. You guys, what if she think? Well, no, she knows that it's not her heart.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what if she thinks that it's something relating to her, and she's going to grab it to power herself up, but she would know it's not her heart, surely.
Wait,
Would she know that Bahamut's heart was moved from there?
I don't
Well,
think she
no.
would. What if that is her play? What if she wants to make sure that Bahamut can't be put back on the chessboard?
That's what I'm saying. Is like, that's got to be it. She thinks that there's something in Bakata that could bring Bahamut back, and she wants to fucking wipe out Bakata and whatever remains of Bahamut there are.
Mm.
So, are you having this conversation in character? Just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Because I don't think Fion's stressed enough to where I think it would probably slip.
That's fine. I'm sorry. Could you say again, Mollymort?
We're not telepathic. We wouldn't be able to actually figure this stuff out otherwise.
I understand, but there's a certain allowance for metagaming in certain instances. But in this particular case, I think Jareth would be a little bit surprised at the mention of Bahamut. But if it's Bahamut, if Bahamut's in Bakata, that would okay. That's a fun alliteration I hadn't put together. But if Bahamut's in Bakata with the Bangos, and if she's going there, that could be why she's going to Bakata. After all this time, for thousands of years in hiding, I'm not sure why she would come out now. But if Bahamut is trying to be resurrected in Bakata, that would definitely get her out of hiding.
You know?
No, he's kind of not in Bakata anymore. We kind of stole his heart.
Yeah, but you know what happened less than a week or less than 2 weeks ago is that the heart was attempt. Actually, I don't know how long ago they attempted in game time. How long ago they attempted to bring it back to Hope, but it wasn't that long ago.
It was actually a couple of months.
Okay, I still like that's still a reasonable amount of time for them to be like, oh, so it does exist. Okay, rally the forces,
Mm-hmm. Well, you recall too that the invasion was planned well before that.
Yeah.
Because Jareth, you had already moved on from Jareth long by that, and Jareth had been in the city for quite a while after finding of the invasion. The invasion had been planned quite a bit before that. So this is like a year or more, actually quite a bit more, in the works for the invasion itself. Anyway.
I feel like the heart, having been there for a while, has to be relevant to it because, like it's been mentioned, there's nothing else really special about Bakata, outside of it being the hometown of two of our party, and that doesn't make it special. That just makes it special to us.
Yeah.
The difference between worthless and priceless is just point of view.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much where you are. But in front of you, you have 2 hats of disguise, bag of holding, a lock of hair belonging to an ensign who hopefully serves aboard the Freya, a common hammer, and a common iron nail. As I said, Jareth says that he'll give you the bag of holding, he'll give you the 2 hats of disguise, and the lock. All he asks is that you put the hammer, or that you nail you hammer the nail into the ship someplace that they can teleport to bring in an invasion if necessary, and you can do whatever you want past that, and he'll do what he can to bring in reinforcements in time. Because he can use that nail that was just forged here as a focus to teleport back and forth to.
Well, I feel like we can take care of this pretty quickly with the stealthier members of our party if we try to get to it immediately. So, while it's still, middle of the night, early morning-ish. Because there's not really going to be many people awake on board, if at all.
Hopefully. You never know with these dwarves, I tell you.
Yeah.
True.
I hate this whole situation, but I feel like we do have to go with this because taking down that fleet is going to be one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
Fuck. I say, excuse me, out of character, I say that Philbin, Fionn, and Aladrin teleport to the ship because Beef, Meatwall, and Fionn because stealth, and Philbin because spell slots. If he has any spell slots, left to do any really big stuff as much as he can to damage the ship, and on our way out. But we'd have to be teleported back is the problem.
Yeah.
I would just like to say I put up my cloak of Elvenkind and then wave my feet to indicate my boots.
Mhm.
I'm pretty good at being stealthy too, or not being noticed at least. And also, I got this staff of fire. So if we want to do some damage before we get out, I can do that.
That's the thing is like we need to be teleported back off the ship, and both of our teleporters need 8 hours.
You could, and this is Jarrah speaking. He says it's a very large ship. You might be able to stow away, and that way, when they come to invade, you might be able to defend that way. He shrugs.
Something about that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, something about that skeeves me out. Though
Yeah.
Fionn is forever paranoid, so
I think when the barbarian gets paranoid about an idea, it's a bad idea.
Oh, lovely.
Like, I could probably. Oh, no, I couldn't take that ship. There's way too many of them. There'd be way too fucking many.
yeah, that's why I was like when I suggested Aldrin come, it was purely for the point of like
Yeah.
just in case our important spellcaster that we only brought along just for the sake of as we're escaping to I don't know, cast a huge fireball in the day, something.
Yeah.
If we needed to, we could put the meat wall in front of him.
Yeah, I can definitely make sure that ship sinks. That ship, if we get onto it, won't be sailing much further.
Yeah. Yeah, also I do a lot of fire stuff, so I could help with that.
I'm just worried about Molly's squishiness and the fact that Molly is a powerful asset that I don't know if we can afford to possibly lose.
Guys, I have an idea. I could also do water walk on us, and then we could just hang out outside the boat.
Yeah.
That's possible. It's not like you guys haven't been in the ocean before or in this particular sea.
What
Yeah.
if how long does water walking last?
I think it's like at least an hour. I think it's like 3 hours.
And Aladrin, you are very adept at swimming and can breathe underwater at this point, right?
Yeah.
What if, Molly, we have you cast water walking on Aladrin, we teleport Aladrin using the lock of hair focus. He immediately jumps overboard, nails the nail into the side of the ship, and then just gets the fuck out of Dodge.
Issue with that, you don't want to be summoning troops outside the trip,
Yeah.
right into water.
Yeah, Jared says, I do have an issue with that. I would prefer that it be somewhere well below decks where we can encounter them by surprise, not over decks where it'll be our surprise if we teleport to them.
True. Fuck.
Well, water walk lasts an hour, but water breathing lasts 24. They aren't concentration, they're both ritual. Technically, I can do both.
Hmm.
It's just everything we've had to make a decision about recently has sucked so bad.
Yeah.
Thank you. It warms my heart, guys. Thank you.
I mean, honestly, I'm still. Like, I feel like there's no point in doing it if we wait the 8 hours to have a teleporter to teleport us back off deck because they could be there by the morning. We don't know. We don't have an exact time frame.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, the more and more we talk about it, the more it appears to me that we're just gonna have to teleport to Bakata and try and scramble a last minute's defense.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do?
Well, we're gonna at least try to resurrect Bahamut, right?
Mm.
Jareth, do you know any more connections you can give to us to, resurrect the demon god?
well, out of character, I think the Bahamut would take issue with being called a demon god. But
Sorry,
Uh,
spoke. I meant dragon god.
it's there are demon gods that are going to be showing up any minute, so you never know. But anyway,
That's
They,
just
um,
after Bahamut.
Yeah, I was
After
also
Queen
thinking
Alice.
of Ormus's whole situation.
oh, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Anyway, so the Jareth says that there's a bit of an issue that he's doing what he can, but currently they're limited in resources that he can offer. He says that he had to. It was difficult enough to arrange this, and he's hoping that if the nail is there, that he can convince the council to help with more. But we're at about the extent of the resources that he can bring to bear. Unless there's something in particular you can think of, he doesn't have a better plan.
You said the council. What council would this be?
Now, you recall that the city of Trinia is a relatively free city, a free democracy run by the council of various elders. And these elders are people that are heads of various schools or the various museums here. And in particular, they all come together. The sort of central most council is in total 3 individuals that you met before, and they agreed that as long as you all are going back and forth and discussing things with each other, these deans, the sort of circle of deans, that they would offer what help they could. You remember that there was Dean Rita Redding. She was a gnomish engineer. There was Dean Malberg Knuckle or Mruckle. Anyway, elves. They're weird. The Dean of Languages and Mathematics, and then Dean Kurno Marcus, the guy you have dealt with the most, the half elf who's the Dean of the Museum of Ancient Wonders. And he says that he's having a. He sighs and he says, before he seems to be having a difficult time saying the word Tiamat, but he just points at the ship and he says, before the fleet showed up at Verbanville, it had to come past us. As if he's pointing off the shore. That ship's bigger than any building in this city. It's hard to imagine anything that big. They know that if we stand against them and they don't fall, that we will be next. And they would rather us be occupied than destroyed, because the wrath of her will be worse. And he says that he is of a different opinion, and he is hoping that if he can give the council a sure bet, that they'll take it. Hence the nail. So basically, your allies have cold feet.
Yeah.
Because, that fleet's like 30,000 men. And the biggest ships ever built. It's intimidating as hell. And that's not including the dragon goddess.
Yeah.
I mean, I just.
Stop playing checkers, or stop playing chess. Just play checkers. One move at a time. What are you doing right now?
Alright, I say we send Fionn and Philbin on the ship to put in the nail. Even though Philbin can't teleport right now, he can send messaging to send the message back that the nail has been set, so we can put people on the ship to cause whatever havoc. Yeah, and I'll only say me because I can literally turn invisible in the darkness. So,
Yeah.
All right.
Does everyone agree to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it
Okay.
sucks, but
So just you and Philbin it for at first or right now?
yeah, because I want to take as few people as possible because of the stealth factor.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever has the Cloak of Elvenkind that we've been passing around the party, please pass that over to Philbin because we need as much stealth as possible right now.
We
Yeah.
have 2 cloaks of Elvenkind. I've held on to one, and one's been passed around.
Yeah.
Philbin shakes his head and he says, "I don't need to be stealthy. I'm a dwarf."
That is a good point. I didn't even think about that. I'm so stressed about us being noticed. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that.
Jareth holds up the hats of disguise and he says, "You don't need to hide. You just need to wear these if you're not a dwarf. And for the rest, well, maybe hiding. But you should be able to just walk the halls without being noticed. There's 30,000 people in the fleet. They don't know who's who."
My only question is the ship built to dwarven height specifications?
He says that he's never been aboard it. But he looks up and down at you and Aldrin. Says, "Yeah, it might be a little cramped for you."
Maybe I should go after all.
I just really don't want to sit because if the shit, my thing is if the shit hits the fan, yeah, you can do a lot of damage, but you can't take a lot of damage.
I can heal myself though, and I
Jareth,
can turn into an animal, and I can, cast spells that let me walk off into the water or swim or whatever.
Jareth
I'm
says, "Oh, go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt."
I'm not good at being durable, but I can make myself, get away or take a few hits while I'm trying to get away.
I mean, a few hits is a ship of 10 people. This is a 30,000 fleet. I just don't have a good feeling about it.
Jareth says that if it's a concern of the shit hitting the fan, then don't let it hit the fan. And he says, too, that there is a time for full measures and there is a time for half measures. This is a time for full measures. If she does not fight them here, then she'll be fighting them on the beaches or on the lands. What is better, to have her advantage now, where we may stop them before they even get to, or they have.
I mean, I guess if you really want to come, Molly, there are 2 hats, and Philbin is a dwarf, so. I just have a really bad feeling about Molly coming.
Lee says that he wants to go too.
All right. Well, we'll all go.
He can pass like a dwarf.
Yeah, honestly, I don't doubt that Lee could pass like a dwarf.
Yeah, and Lee certainly can't be stealthy in this.
That's if like 4 of us are going, we might as well all go.
I don't think we should all go though. Is the thing. I'm just not. I'm not.
Real says, "I don't want to go."
Yeah, no, I don't either. I mean, Real, would you rather be on a ship on the ocean or fighting a literal dragon goddess?
He says that I've never seen the ocean, and I've never seen a dragon goddess. I don't think I want to fight either, but I will if I have to.
They should definitely stay here.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, my vote is Fionn and Philbin. Like,
Yeah. Just go, and then eventually you'll either come back to us or we'll come to you, or something will happen.
and Lee, because Lee said he wanted to go and he can pass as a dwarf and he can take hits and deal hits and yeah.
Lee thinks that we would all work together. Well, we would all work better together. Since he's not here, I get to play him. Yay!
I mean, I feel like it's a pretty decent.
Come on, guys, we can do it together. Shucksy daisy. That's something he says all the time, right?
Maybe.
He starts handing out candy.
Yeah.
I don't want the whole party coming because, like, yeah, we have the the hats, but this is still a partial stealth because we're trying not to be noticed.
Jarrett says that if you're going in at night, you have the hats to have people take point. You might be able to bounce and back and forth and never be noticed. You might be able to stow away. It's a big ship. There's got to be a lot of places to hide.
I mean, Lee Fionn and Philbin seems like a pretty decent run to me, and I'm ready. I'm ready to pull the trigger on that if everyone agrees with it.
Yeah.
Is everyone else okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm definitely gonna scry on you about when you get there after a couple minutes, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll make sure I mentally allow that.
Philbin says that he thinks that we'll be able to do a lot more damage if everyone goes. And that just the three of us aren't going to be able to sink that ship.
But
Can I make a quick insight check on Jareth?
Sure.
Does it want to kill us?
our intention right now isn't really to sink the ship, it's to plant the seed to allow us to make it easier to do it later.
Yeah, but
Well, we don't
Philbin
really
says, yeah,
have a later.
we might be able to, with Mollymort's fireballs and combined magic, we could blow the rudder controls off and make it do circles in the sea. We could put a hole in it and make it slow down. There's any number of things that we could do if we have enough power.
That was a 24 on that insight check.
Yeah, you haven't discerned any signs of deception from him. Yeah, he's a showboat, but he's never actually lied to you guys.
And Jareth, you want us all to go, and you'll be sending reinforcements almost immediately, right?
He says that if we have the nail in place, I might be able to convince the council to give us reinforcements. If we can't do anything, he points at the nail, and he says, "This is a way home, and it's a plan B. If there's nothing else we can do, we might be able to send a team here to sabotage it if this doesn't work."
See, the reason I don't want the whole party on the ship is that we'll be stuck there until we're there long enough for it doing nothing for it to qualify as and this is out of character, for it to qualify as a long rest, so our teleporters are back up and running. And that would mean that Bakata is left on its own if we do fail, you know?
Yeah.
Or if for whatever reason Tiamat is sent ahead.
Yeah, I understand.
Right now, solution great, but otherwise, you guys got to do something. Jarrett's put it on the table. If you want to take it, great. If not, he's going to try and find someone else, and he'll probably go to the ship himself.
All right, let's just do it. I'm game to do it. I probably have the best chance of sinking that ship with the spear, with my axe, with magic, various things.
Speaking of, where the fuck is my spell book?
And depending on how close they are to Bakata, I can always just swim back to Bakata. Because I'm sure losing their flagship will slow them down a little bit.
One can hope.
Yeah. Yeah, one can hope.
I feel like we need to send some of our party to Bakata.
Send Lee to Bakata. It's his home. It makes sense.
Yeah, Lee, when he further thinks about it, says that, yeah, he wants to go to Brakata.
So I say let's send Lee Ormus and Molly Mort to Bacata, and the rest of us, Aldrin, Fionn, Philbin, hop on the ship using the hats to try and get deep below deck, and then we'll have Philbin send back message to Jareth.
I don't know. So that's a tricky part. I don't know where Lee would fall on this one. I think he wants to go to Bacata, but then he thinks about it a little bit more and he says, nope, stopping the ship would help protect Bacata the most. So maybe he wants to go to the ship.
I do think he'd want to be in Bacata because he has said multiple times that he'd want to be at Bacata a day before.
He has, but this is the opportunity to stop the invasion right now.
Yeah.
Because if this fails, yeah, you pretty much all die. But if it succeeds, you win.
If it succeeds, we still have the dragon to deal with.
Yeah.
You have the dragon to deal with either way.
Yeah, that's why I think Lee would want to be in Bacata, is because either way we have the dragon to deal with.
But now you don't have the 30,000, 20 or 30 or 35 or 50,000 troops.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's really the problem.
I mean, I say we pull the trigger on the half split of Aldrin, Fionn, Philbin, Ship, Molly Ormus, Lee, Bacata, and
Yeah.
especially because Lee has his feature of the talking to the guard, and he was a guard at Bacata, so I say we pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, in terms of the defense, he can basically be in charge of the defense of Bacata if he likes.
Yeah,
And that's simple enough.
I say let's do it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Alright, is there anything you guys want me to, send with you? You guys have good berries, don't forget. And, I could probably know an elemental and be able to understand you and understand orders. You want me to give you water walk or water breathing real quick?
Yeah, that actually, because that would be pretty great.
Now, I will just throw this out there from a meta perspective. There's nothing to do in Bacata till the ships show up.
Yeah.
So, in a gameplay sense, it'll basically be end of the game for Molly Mort, Lee, and Ormus until the ships show up.
Yeah, I
There's nothing to do.
I just feel like Lee would want to be there, gathering troops in the right places. And
see, I would think the opposite. I think that Lee would like to take the chance to stop the invasion in one hit.
I don't know.
Even if it means a risk to himself. Because if he sinks this, if he does this could turn the entire invasion around. It could save the city in one act.
There's still the dragon. I still think he'd want to be in the city. And also, it is his home.
But if he's got to fight her one place or the other, what advantage does the city give?
We're not fighting her, though. We're just fighting the ship.
She's at the ship.
I kind of, I don't know. Part of me is like, us all going to the boat has its own merit because we could take out more than one boat that way. But that also feels like putting all of our eggs in one basket.
Yes.
Like, it's kind of like, it's almost an all or nothing scenario, but not quite.
High risk, high potential reward.
Yeah. We could all get breathed on by a dragon and die, but we could also take out God knows how many dwarves and stop an invasion.
Divided, if this team at full strength isn't enough to fight Tiamat, then you won't be enough at half strength. So if half of you go now and get killed by her now, and then half of you get killed next week, you both all die. But together, you have the best chance.
I mean, fuck it. Let's go full party. Because I have at least an hour of disguise self. Wait. No, yeah, I haven't used that today. So I have at least an hour of disguise self. that'll get me by if somebody else needs the hat, one of the hats, and I have the sticking to the shadows below deck.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll add too that hiding would be really well for you, Fion. The hat of disguise, unlike your disguised self, given by your racial ability, it does not let you shrink 3 feet.
Yeah, true. I forgot about that.
So you'll either be the largest dwarf in the county, or it's just not gonna work very well.
I'll just be their resident horde breaker dwarf, the big mofo.
Yeah, but for Lee, Philbin, Ormus, anyone else in the sort of humanoid, normal, medium range, they can appear seamlessly like a dwarf of a particular person or whomever.
Well, I can just sing to Theon, so that'll keep me pretty quiet and out of the way. Aldrin could use the hat. That leaves us one more hat. Who else could use it most?
Ormus.
Yeah, Ormus could use a hat.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
Aldrin is also still a large person.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit down and start casting water breathing.
All right.
Ritual casting.
But with the 2 hats, you could most convincingly make Ormus or Lee look like dwarves. And also, too, Jareth says that he'll go if you want him. But basically, the hats would work best on Ormus and on Lee. And Philbin is already a dwarf.
The more
Yeah.
bodies, the better, in my opinion.
How good are you in a fight, Jareth? We never really found out, did we?
He points at Aldrin. He says, "Oh no, trying to think that might be insensitive. Oh, of course it's insensitive. That's fine." Jareth points at Aldrin and says, "I almost killed him last time."
That was a long
Good.
time ago, my friend. But that is a good indicator.
Well,
I
Jared,
point.
I say the second we're gone, you start heading towards the council meeting area, and don't say anything until we send you back a message that the nail is in place. But obviously time is of the essence, so start making your way back the moment we go through the teleportation, and then if they're not willing to send anybody, you come as well.
He nods. I'll add too, just because I think it's hilarious. It happened in my head, and I didn't even expect it. When when Jareth points at Aldrin and says, "I almost killed him last time," Real mutters under his breath, "That's nothing special."
Yeah, I was gonna say I just point to Real, so did he.
Anyway, but
Oh fuck! What about Real?
Bring him with us?
Real says he doesn't want to go. You can convince him if you like, as well as the necromancer that is also there. But otherwise, Jareth can have him delivered to your other friends that the city is also kindly putting up.
Yeah, I think they would be best suited in Hope in case we get there and do try to resurrect Bahamut, which I hope is still a plan. And I mean, if Real doesn't want to fight, then I feel like he won't do well in a fight, and it's not worth forcing him.
All right. Jareth says that he can see that that's taken care of. He can talk to Edwin and make sure that she gets to where she needs to go. Edwin, you recall, is the sort of ambassador from Hope to Terenia.
There's another couple that I would appreciate you delivering to Hope instead of leaving here. Arban and his wife, an elf and a drow, they're an odd couple. And, Jareth and all those people, Alondria and stuff, they would probably be better not in Bacata.
Jareth says that they're actually doing quite well here. Our band seems quite excited, and He says that Dean Milberg has taken quite a shine to him, and he's actually already been offered a position as a fellowship here at the schools.
Oh, good for him.
He's an expert in basically all of the languages.
Wow.
Yeah, he was very impressed. Universal translator, strange fellow.
Well, I mean, he
so-
tagged along with us. I'd imagine he is pretty strange.
Yeah, but being so gifted in languages, he's quite welcome. So,
Just a random thought I had. This completely unrelated.
uh-huh.
What if Arbon is past Arata after Arata achieved his what do you call it, like godlyship? I don't know if that's the right word.
Well, we'll never know.
It just occurred to me because I was like Arbon, Arata. Arata was around apparently for us resurrecting. Or no, Bahamut just told him the story. He said so. Never mind about that.
They are
part.
both. They are both elves, so that's something. But Arban doesn't seem to have any magical inclination whatsoever. He seems that he's really good with languages, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Ah, but Arata has given us tongues. There's a connection.
Yes, but Arata himself can speak no other languages.
That we know of.
That you know of. That's fair. Well, he at least reads Japanese. Because if you recall, the instruction manual for his exploding robot was in Japanese.
Oh yeah, that feels like forever ago.
I know, right? It's all in my head, and I can't get it out. So you all can skip ahead, unless there are any other sort of precautions or anything else you want to take care of. You all can head to the teleporters and zip right out to whomever the previous owner, donator, in a sense, of this hair happens to be.
No.
Well, I am finishing casting ritual water breathing on all of us. All of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, can I do a water walk too? I think the water breathing would be way more useful in this case.
Yeah, like if worst comes to worst, you can always cast water walking. Last minute. So I feel like the water breathing is enough for now.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really even need to walk on the water. No big deal. Does anyone want to get anything from the gift shop before you leave the Museum of Nautical Construction?
What's in the gift shop?
Well, this is where you got the plushie of Great Claw, the largest lobster ever brought in, and various other things. There's little models of different ships. You can see that there's a kind of sketch of the outside of the Freya, what it sort of looks like. Just this big grand ship. It looks kind of like it's a much more kind of hand drawn. Hang on, let me. It looks much more like a hand drawn picture of. No, not the dice rolls.
I would like to know that I do still have my pressed coin from the Nautical Museum.
Of course, there's quite a bit, but it looks kind of like that.
God, that's fucking massive.
Yeah, massive.
I say we grab one of those just so we know where we're going. Use it like a map.
Yeah, just some details of the exhibit of the Freya. Just this massive ship. So, I'll add too that for the from Chinese from a legendary ship, is semi mythology. So instead of the head of it being what it is here, it actually, in reality, is the head of a dragon, roughly to scale to Tiamat's head.
Wow.
Made entirely, or seemingly entirely, of gold. Just this massive, massive head. Anyway.
One more question.
Yeah.
There was talk a while back about... Okay, never mind. I was thinking of the scale and wondering if that would aid in the resurrection, but no, that was Tiamat scale, not Bahamut. That wouldn't help with, recreating a body.
Not necessarily. They're from what description Bahamut gave you. Bahamut was a little bigger than Tiamat, but they're both just absolutely massive. You've seen Alondria in her form, and you saw an unfortunate blue dragon that you all
Slaughtered.
Beat the snot out of.
Molly's
That-
currently wearing.
Burnt to yeah.
yeah, that you did that. And then he delivered his hands to his father. Oh, it was terrible. Anyway, you had seen those, and Alondria was small compared to the blue dragon, and the blue dragon is just quite small next to the massive scale of Tiamat. Tiamat is like more than twice the size of Alondria.
Well, I was asking about it because I was hoping that Zilran, whatever her name is, I was hoping that she could use a piece of his scale, because for some reason I thought it was his scale, to recreate a body. Because
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, the only scale you have in terms of the dragon scales related to them, you have one scale from Tiamat that is in the Museum of Ancient.
The model of Great Claw is just a model. It's not like his actual shell, right?
Are you talking about in the gift shop or in the exhibit?
In the exhibit.
That isn't.
No,
And you're saying Molly Mort?
wasn't that like they claim it's still alive, but it's clearly been dead long ago, and they just kind of make it move.
No. They don't claim it's alive, but yeah, the actual exhibit in the Museum of Nautical Construction, Great Claw, is like a 20 to 30-foot long lobster. It is in a sort of it's an exhibit of taxidermy in a sense. It is presumably its own shell, but they do have it there, and it is suspended, and they do have a kind of motion to it where its claws occasionally will like move around a little bit, but it is just taxidermy. It is deceased. It is dead, and there was an exhibit. You recall that it was considered a good luck charm in the harbor of a small fishing village in the edge of the White Sea, and it actually stopped a pirate invasion once. It came up and cut one of the smaller boats right in half, and they enjoyed it for quite some time. But eventually, it was either they say that it passed of natural causes. It eventually just stopped. It just died, and then it was fished up and then brought here. And anyway, that's what it says about it.
Wonder if our necromancer could do anything with that.
That would
Oh.
be interesting.
If you ask her, she says, "Oh, I would love to."
It was just food for thought. I was like, if that's the actual remains of Great Claw, I wonder if she could do anything so we would have a 20 to 30 foot lobster. But that would take so much effort of moving it to the ship and resurrecting it, and et cetera, et cetera.
It being so massive, that would complicate things, yes, but she could potentially animate it, and if for whatever reason, and I'm just throwing this out there, but if the city had use of it, it could protect the harbor here pretty well.
God.
That might be something to think about for the future.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you know that in terms of the nautical sea creatures that you have encountered thus far, judging from the possible the species of Ortogoro and this thing is nothing compared to the massive size of that serpent. That serpent alone must have been tremendous in size, possibly even bigger than Tiamat herself. The skull alone, like Tiamat was very big. Like she could eat, any of you whole, no problem. But this thing's skull was twice as big as like Aladrin. Like its skull alone was 15 to 20 feet tall. the serpent that Utaguro's people were sacrificing to keep asleep. So they said. Anyway, so you guys gonna teleport to the Freya? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Oh.
cast water breathing on everybody. I'm good to go. Everybody has their good berries.
Can taste the enthusiasm. All right.
Yeah, when Fionn steps into the circle, he puts his hands on the hilt of his swords. Not drawing, just ready to.
Now, Ormus, are you with us? You've been quiet this entire time.
Yeah, I'm here.
What you thinking?
Not a whole lot. Just trying to process it all.
Okay.
Honestly. Like,
Is
there's a
there-
lot that we can do,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same
Anything-
time, we're very limited.
That's true. Anything you'd like to say or do? Any thoughts? Any reaction to the current situation where it feels like you're, missing a limb that he didn't realize that you have been flexing for quite a long time?
If I'm being honest and in character, I'm gonna be completely silent and just thinking what did I do? How did I mess up? Why did he abandon me?
Yeah.
Kind of sort of stuff.
Have you gotten to the point where you think maybe trying to contact him? Just curious.
I had that first initial thought, but the only way that I would know to contact him was to kill myself, and I'm not doing that in front of everybody.
Not in front of everybody. That would make a mess. That's fair. Okay. We can come back to that later. Sorry. So, you all get up on the, if it were in this universe, obviously copyrighted transport platform, as if it is something out of Star Trek. And you could see Jareth giving a lock of golden hair to the night operator of the teleporter. And he nods at you all. You all being, of course, the core group of the party, and the dwarf Philbin, and also the goat. Anyone else? That's it? Good? Thumbs up?
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, he gives a thumbs up to everybody. Thumbs up back. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Fionn gives his thumbs up as he casts detect self, disguise self into the form of, one of the dwarfs he had to have seen in Bourbonville.
Understood. Does anyone else take a moment to disguise themselves? Currently, I think the hats are with whom? Who has the hats?
My assumption was Ormus and Aldrin, because we can kind of sketchily pass off Lee as a dwarf. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That works. Aldrin, you would have to hunch quite a bit,
Yeah.
but you could potentially do it. Do you take a disguise now, or do you just wing it?
I'm gonna take the disguise now.
Okay. As you kind of hunker down, do you hunker down first and then disguise, or disguise then hunker?
Disguise then hunker.
Okay. You turn into a wildly out of proportion dwarf, but as you hunker down, you turn into a mildly out of proportion dwarf with a hump. You look ugly, but you look like an ugly dwarf.
Yeah, that just means people won't pay attention to me.
Exactly. Ormus, do you disguise yourself?
We'll certainly do.
Okay. Any particular dwarf, or just a generic dwarf? Or something else? I should add too. What clothing do you disguise yourself as wearing?
Uh,
I will
Sure.
add, you did
was-
see Morningstar uniforms in the city of Bourbonville, or the town of Bourbonville, during the battle.
all right. Yep.
These,
They all had full plate, right?
well, no, not all of them in terms of full plate. Many of them just had these kind of over the top red and blue kind of such as a T Oh, the brain is gone. Sorry. So they're wearing
Nick?
these. Huh? No, not. Doesn't matter. Anyway, they're wearing red and blue, and it's basically like the primary color of blue with what looks like a sunrise of red.
Yeah, I'll go with the whatever we saw when we were fighting them.
Okay. So Ormus turns himself into a rather convincing dwarf in full Morningstar uniform. And thumbs up. Poof.
I feel disgusting.
I'm clinging to Fionn with my hood up and my, of course, boots on.
The very first thing that you notice, besides what you see, is what you smell. Just, yeah. Apparently, whomever this hair belonged to, or does belong to, works in wherever they keep livestock alive. Judging from the smell, there's some muck from fresh here. But the good news is you don't have to look very far, as you all have teleported in a sort of circle surrounding a very fair-haired dwarf who is whistling a sort of dwarven tune while shoveling some kind of, you're guessing, boar shit?
Hmm.
And as you all appear, he looks up rather surprised and says in Dwarvish, "What's all this about?"
Can
And he's holding the shovel defensively like a spear.
Can I try and jump at him, tackle him, put my hand over his mouth?
All right, go for it. Make an athletics check to try and grapple him and get a hold.
Let's see, what is my athletics? That's +4. Okay.
That's something else I am doing. I am making sure everybody has their dragon killing weapons, because I did have Smash Mouth in my hat, so I make sure to pass that off to Lee.
Did you do it before you teleported?
Yes.
Good, wonderful. Go on, Theon.
That's an unnatural 20.
All right, you're able to grab onto this seemingly defenseless pig farmer, and you're able to.
I guess I'll look up at the rest.
The club that he.
Sorry, my thing is disconnecting and shit. Okay, sorry, I missed a bit because my connection keeps skipping out. I can't wait to get a fucking Ethernet cable. Anyways.
That's fine. So at this point, Lee, having Smash Mouth already in his hand, will attempt to gently bonk this poor restrained fellow on. And
No better than to do that with a dragon killing weapon.
oh, he's gently doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it hits for proportional damage, and it is a blunt weapon, so it can do non-lethal.
Yeah, so he does 4d4 non-lethal damage. Actually, no, he crit. So because he's restrained and defenseless, so he technically does like 4d. So 16. Anyway, he knocks this guy. Like he's gonna be asleep for a long time. But it's not technically magical, so it's okay. It's not magical damage; doesn't kill him. But Lee, like, very gently tries to just gently get this guy, and you can hear it. It sounds like someone just knocked on a melon, just this clunk, and he just goes limp in your arms. And Lee looks at it with wide eyes. He goes, "Guys, I didn't mean to do that. You think he's gonna be okay?"
He'll be fine. He's still breathing. He'll be fine.
I gotta be careful with this thing.
Fionn begins to take out rope to try to restrain him.
All right. If the rest of you look around, it is completely dark down here. It being a dwarven ship, they don't seem to be wasting any money with candles, not to mention the risk of a fire. So as you look around, it is dark and stanky. There are quite a few noises of various animals from afar. And you can see also, too, a list that seems to be sticking out of his pocket, his shirt pocket, as you're tying him up, Fionn. But there doesn't seem like there's anyone else around. It's quiet except for the animal noises and the occasional quiet creak, and you can feel the sway of the ship. As you can tell, especially you, Aldrin, who has more experience on the sea, even though you don't like it, that you are deep below decks.
If I put my ear against the wall,
Mm-hmm.
does it sound like we're at sea level or below it?
Below sea level.
Okay. Okay. I'm ready to start this plan off if you are, if everyone is.
I mean, if we're below sea level, I say we're basically in a pig pen. This is very inconspicuous, in my opinion. So yeah, I say let's do it.
The nail right here.
This is gonna start bringing attention and it's gonna get loud.
We could loose.
So-
No, I was gonna say we could loose the livestock, and so they'd be a distraction.
Yeah.
That-
My plan. Go
That
ahead,
would
Molly.
people here though. We don't want people to start coming here. I don't think.
Well, I mean, I feel like it would give us enough time to nail the nail in, because it doesn't take more than a minute to nail a nail in,
No.
Not even,
And-
yeah.
and then get the hell out of here. Because it would, I imagine it would take more than a couple of minutes for them to, unless the livestock immediately started just squealing as they were running around. But like, if we just kind of let them loose aboard, it would take a minute for them to be noticed, and
Yeah.
they would be busy trying to round up, the livestock, and I doubt they'd really think about some knocking for a couple of seconds.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I'm just no, that's fine. I'm just realizing something. Go on. Remembering. Well, never mind. You'll figure it out.
You mentioned there was something in the guy's front pocket.
Yes, I did, but that's not what I was.
Yeah, I realized that that guy
Kind of a slip of paper full that's sticking out of it too.
Okay, yeah, then I'll grab it and inspect it.
It seems to be a list of animals that are being requested upstairs, and it's also asking that they be clean.
Mm.
I think this might be an option.
Yeah. I said let's do it. Start.
Honestly, I feel like they wouldn't make much note of, somebody pounding in a hammer in a place like this.
Yeah.
It's-
Like, let's just start putting the nail in, and if someone comes down to investigate, we deal with it.
But as soon as we get the nail in, we're agreed that we need to try to get deeper below deck to a less traveled area.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then, yeah, let's execute.
All right, so you're going to put the nail in right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's got the nail?
I think that's. I assumed we handed it off to Aldrin.
Yeah, because I had the hammer.
Okay, you've got the hammer. You got the nail. Where you want to put it?
I'm going to go.
Now you know too. Wherever you put it, that's going to be the focus for any teleportation coming in, and that'll be the focus of any teleportation used to go out, because it connects you directly to the city. But primarily, that'll be wherever you put it on the floor. That'll be or on the wall for that matter. That'll be the focus of the teleportation. So, just keep that in mind.
Yeah. I was thinking about putting it in one of the animal pens.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go into one of the animal pens and just hammer it into the wall of the pen.
All right. As which there's a couple different animals. Looks like they've got a couple of a couple of cow, a lot of sheep, a lot of sort of large pigs,
Mhm.
and looks like a variety of birds. Uh, oddly enough, like ducks and things.
Hmm.
So, which kind of animal enclosure would you like to deliver this simple iron nail?
I'm gonna put it with with the cows. With the cows.
Okay. You start to go in with the cows. They seem to have they move away from you for the most part. Big, scary person. Uh, but yeah, you can go in. Do you want to just straight into the ground, move the thresh and the sort of hay aside, and just tap it right into the timbers?
I was gonna put it right into the wall.
Okay.
In the,
Like
into
the
the
far side from the entrance or along to the
into one
sides?
of along the side into one of the walls that like divides the pens.
Okay. Yeah, you can certainly do that and tap, tap, tap. And there it is. A little nail that is, even if anyone saw it, they wouldn't think it.
Yeah.
All right. What do you guys do now?
I would assume we'd tell Philbin to send out the message to Jareth that the nail is in place
Yeah.
and start moving down ship and wait for chaos to ensue.
He nods and says it's done.
Okay, so then now we just wait, right? We wait for reinforcements. If that doesn't come, Jareth is coming himself. So I guess we just. The plan was to just keep going further down ship until we get to a less traveled area, correct?
Yeah.
Well, sort of. I mean, Jareth made it sound like the nail was plan B if you guys failed. And that he would do whatever he could. But for the most part, he was kind of hoping that you guys would sabotage or do something to the ship.
I mean, I can do that now. I do have
Maybe
a
we could
plan
just
in
poke a
place.
hole all the way at the bottom and wait, and then
Could
when
do
they try
that.
and take off each
I
of the.
want to make it a big hole. I want to make sure this ship doesn't get even close to land.
Hey Lee, that club that you have,
Yeah, this one? And he kind of swings it around a little bit.
yeah, Fion flinches a little bit when he swings it around.
Sorry. Sorry, guys.
Aldrin, you
Yeah.
said we're below sea level right now, right? It sounded like that.
Yeah.
Uh, so I say, Lee, if you're cool with this, you smack the hell out of one of these walls while we wait in the hallway, and then the second you burst a hole in it, a big hole in it, which is bound to happen, we get to
Problem.
moving.
There's a problem with that. Is that
We're on the boat.
we don't want to flood the room that our reinforcements might come in.
I mean,
So
that's
let's-
true, but
Yeah.
yeah, I guess we do indeed need to go deeper then.
Yeah. Let's head to the bottom of the ship and start there.
Maybe we can kill the captain. One of us disguise ourselves as the captain and bullshit our way through turning them around.
Judging from the animals that this list is requesting, and that they be cleaned beforehand, this is probably some kind of a feast or something. If you're trying to kill the captain, yeah, you get a pretty good chance of he'll be wherever these animals are supposed to go.
Does anybody have
And we
poison?
can poison.
Wait, one of us got
Sorry.
poisoned recently, right?
I have acids, but not poison.
Hmm.
I think, yeah, one of you, Lee, has a mushroom that has no flavor but is toxic.
Yeah.
That could be quite useful.
I mean, fuck. If Fiona's kind of the resident, not necessarily chef, I would say, but at least who makes most of the food when we're out in the wild. Like, I could go up, kind of slip into the kitchen.
Kill the cook and disguise yourself as him. Sure.
I mean, not necessarily kill the cook, but
No. We should
Gourmet.
definitely kill the cook.
While you guys are just
the gourmet.
Yeah.
I don't have any chef's clothes though.
while you guys are discussing this, Molly is going to start cleaning animals, as in like washing them.
Well, it looks like the poor fellow that you all hit, which you don't know his name, but that poor fellow seems to have already cleaned them. And in fact, as we look further, he seems to have already separated the animals he wanted, and he was shoveling up the remains of what was washed off of him.
I guess Fionn just well, is everybody cool with me, leading these up and kind of sneaking into the kitchen and establishing some sort of poisoning?
Yeah. I say go for it.
All right.
As you explore a bit, Fionn,
Have we even confirmed that this is the ship that we want to take over?
you have no idea yet.
I don't think
We should
there's
probably find
really
that
a-
out first, guys.
Is there a way to confirm aside from like going above deck?
That would be pretty definitive, or you could ask someone, maybe. But
Asking someone would probably put us in a suspicious light. I'll just go up top.
correct, that is
As
possible.
a dwarf, Morning Star. Be right back, guys.
As you look around a bit in these pins in this lower level, you find that there is a sort of freight elevator, a wonderful mechanical contraption, dwarves being what they are, that it's likely that the animals would have been kind of herded into this and then lifted up to another level. But you can find an entrance to stairwells on a couple of different places that lead up into presumably different other parts of the ship. So, in terms of whether you want to go up the fore stairs, the aft stairs, the starboard stairs, the port stairs, or the elevator, it's up to you guys.
I mean, I think Fionn would begin to ask for the mushrooms because I think Lee was the one who gathered them,
Yeah.
and then begin to herd the selected animals onto the freight elevator.
I will assist.
Lee will retrieve the mushrooms and deliver them to you.
And I'm gonna go upstairs, all the way up to the top.
All right. As you go up the stairs, you pass a couple of other dwarves. They don't notice you at all. No, they pay you no mind. And when you get to the top, which stairwell do you go up? You got the sort of four stairs, the aft stairs, the left, right, front, back. Which stairs?
Whichever ones are closer, so maybe right.
Okay, so you go up the right stairs, and as you make your way up, when you sort of reach and pierce the top, you have a view out on a deep night with just, it looks like hundreds of ships around, and you are on a massive deck. It looks, let's see, it's nighttime, but I will continue to pilfer works of art as if they are my own, which obviously they are not. I don't pretend to claim that they are, but you see essentially this, but at night, and you're in the middle of it. Imagine instead of those four large ships, it's four large ships and that big ass massive ship, like right in the middle.
And we're inside the big ass.
You seem to be on the big ass massive ship. And as you look around, you see lots of other large ships and medium ships and small ships, hundreds of them. underneath a star, a large, becoming more and more devoid of stars.
Hmm.
Anyway, you see that.
All
The
right, I'll
rest,
go down and relay that.
all right. The rest of you, while Ormus goes to scout a bit, just running up the stairs essentially, and coming back down. What do you all do? You've got animals, you got poison mushrooms, you've got a tied up dwarf. You got so many options.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna tell the party I'm gonna go try and sink the ship, and I'm gonna start
now,
making
hold
my
on.
way.
If we can
Down.
successfully take over the ship,
Sorry.
And I think we
then
should do
we
that
can use this
when we're all ready.
big move.
BRB gonna sink ship.
Yeah.
Just the casualness. I'm just gonna go sink it real quick. I'll be back.
Like,
That definitely seems like something we should hold off on until we're all ready. Also, we were going to kill the captain with poison, right? So we don't want to interrupt his feast.
Plus, if we do successfully kill the captain, I can make myself look like him, take the helm, crash it into the big 4 major ships, causing a little bit more chaos, and then we can sink it.
yeah.
All right.
If you guys are game for that.
I could. I mean, God, the ships are probably moving faster than I. Well, they're definitely moving faster than I can swim, but I could jump off and maybe start sinking other smaller ships, punching holes in them at random.
I think we should stick together.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like this excursion up into the kitchen, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
is just gonna be that. Just like, here you go, and then slip some mushrooms in and then be right back down.
No.
All right.
I mean, are you sure about that, Fion? Because we don't know which plate the captain's going to be getting, or if like everybody's going to be picking out what they want or what. I don't know. I've never been on a feast on a ship.
Well, I mean, if I drop some like crushed mushrooms in my hand and drop them in a big pot, it'll get to somebody and a distraction will be caused.
Yeah.
And they're not going to think to come for us. They're going to go for the cook.
This is true. Okay, I'm gonna soothe the animals a bit because they got the hardest part of this mission.
Mm-hmm. You soothe Bund as much as you can. And they seem quite comfortable. You know, they got a little bit of hay in here. And it looks like the elevator is not quite prepared for them, but they could certainly go in there if you wanted. Because, of course, if there's a feast, and if this is the feast, you cannot poison a feast that is not there. But anyway, so you all gonna... Is it just one of you going up to try and go to the kitchen, or are you going to take the lift with the beasts, or take the lift alone, or take no lift whatsoever? Or what are you guys doing?
I was thinking take the lift with the beasts, herd them on, and
Do the terrible thing that I inclined you to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize so much. I feel terrible for the things I make. So, yeah, you're able to... Well, let's get an animal handling check from a couple of you. See how well that goes.
I can definitely do that. That's a 20 even.
Just 15 from me.
Can we get a third?
Sure. That's low. Really low. That is a 3.
Okay. There's a little bit issue with Aldrin as he's trying to force does not appreciate, but the rest, particularly with Theon and Mollymore, you're able to coax the animals along, including kind of gently patting some ducks to get them to whack, whack, kind of waddle onto the elevator as they make their way in. It seems like they've been on this ship for quite some time. They seem comfortable around these other beasts. But you're able to get them into the elevator. It seems quite cramped now. It looks like they called for several of the ducks, several goats, and a couple of boars. Well, primarily one larger goat and one larger boar. Not nearly as large as Lee's goat, which also kind of helps by trying to get some of the animals to move relatively unsuccessfully. But you're able to get onto the elevator, and yeah, you're on this thing that you think to be a lift with animals. And you can close the gates, and that helps. You have no idea how this thing works.
Is there any?
A rope maybe for a pulley system?
There are several ropes connected to this sort of traveling box, and you seem to be moving in a cage built in the ship. But whatever would be lifting you is likely some kind of big pulley above you, and someone or something pulling onto these large ropes. But that source is not here. It's likely, in fact, Ormus, you can maybe even recall these large wheels on deck to operate this machinery. And that you might need
cutting out. What
a
is-
signal. And that essentially, Ormus, having been on deck, you can sort of remember, as you think about it more, these large wheels. And that it's likely that you'll need to signal someone or go up on deck to operate this lift.
Is there any kind of like, pipe system that people talk through that, we could, say, hey, we got the animals?
You did not see anything like that immediately. It's possible that it's just not in this section, or perhaps it doesn't exist. But you did not see anything.
Theon does a double tug on the rope that leads through, and just assuming that would probably do something. If it does nothing, then that's...
Yeah, the rope itself that attaches, it's several ropes, and these are massive ropes, like 6 inches in diameter. They're extremely heavy, presumably. But yeah, even any amount of tugging, no, nothing.
Guys, I'm starting to think we may have to, crank these animals up for ourselves.
I'll go. We assume that the pulley mechanism is above deck, right?
Yes.
I'll go above deck, and I'll be the one to pull us up.
All right. You leave the cart, leave this sort of boxy enclosure. Everyone else staying in?
Oh yeah.
You're able to make your way up the stairs, Aldrin. You pass by a couple of dwarves. And do you speak Dwarvish?
No.
Okay. You can tell somewhat from their tone that they're saying something. I mean, there's a couple of looks and a little bit of laughs. One of them even just says something to you flat out with almost a sort of angry look on his face. Not so much angry, but like he looks like a jerk.
I'm going to say in Draconic, speak the Queen's tongue.
Ooh, nice.
Interesting. Interesting.
I mean, it can't be good for us, but it was a good power play.
Yeah, that's a ballsy move.
The fellow that was being kind of a jerk kind of tilts his head a little bit and points at you and looks at the rest and says something else in Dwarven and just laughs and shakes his head, and he like kind of moves forward and sort of pushes you in the chest.
which would be like if I'm hunched over, right where my throat would be.
Well, no, like in terms of pushing you in the chest, like pushing you in your images of your chest, and your
Yeah.
hunched over form. Yeah, I mean, it's not really your throat per se, but it's somewhere near where your chest is. But yeah, high chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume like
Um,
around your collarbones, and he tried to hit like where your pecs would be or something.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem trying to hit. He's just like trying to like shove, but in a not playful way. But with just one hand, just.
He's a Neomon, kind of.
Yeah, I'm gonna ignore him and keep trying to find the rope to pull.
As you just continue to make your way up the steps, they just shake their head and go about their. And you're able to make your way to the very top, where you can see these drums, these big wheels that are on either side of the tower of this lift above, with several pulley systems. And you can see that these wheels, it looks like they do have handles for individuals to push, and they also have a kind of not a shackle system per se, but they do have attachments for animals, but the animals are not attached. But you could maybe start to turn it, but looking at it, remembering the ropes that connect to it and the ropes here, it looks like they both have to be turned at roughly the same time. And they're quite heavy. I will add, there are quite a few dwarves on deck. And considering if this is a feast, the feast was being prepared, surely they would have been ready for this.
Yeah. Something about this don't feel right.
It feels like you might blow your cover because you don't know Dwarvish to me.
Well, that too, but something about this feels like if this was a feast, then they'd be more prepared. For one, there'd probably be at least like I would think 2 people getting the animals.
It is very late at night or very early in the morning. It's possible that you're simply at the first preparations of it.
If I look up, do I see Tiamat flying around?
As you look up, you see a starry night minus quite a few stars. Weather's quite decent.
Huh.
It's a little chilly, and there's quite a bit of wind on deck, and you can hear the whipping of several flags above head, all of them depicting a blue and red sunrise, or possibly a sunset, depends on how you look at it, of the logo of Morning Star. But
So
yeah, there you go.
so no Tiamat.
No Tiamat that you can see.
I'm gonna head back down to the party.
Okay. You're able to do so, passing by a couple of dwarves. No big deal. And I should add, too, that these stairs, as you're going through the floors, it's not like stairwells in our convention where there are doors and they're separate rooms. These are stairs that go through rooms, and these are the dwarves you're encountering in the various rooms. Not all of them have dwarves in them, but some of them do.
Yeah, I'm just gonna head back down to the party
Okay.
and tell them that I didn't see Tiamat.
Well, that's cool, I guess. But
Yeah, it's like we didn't send you to look for Tiamat.
Well, yeah, but I can't move the lift. Long story short, Tiamat's not here, even though this is Tiamat's invasion, and I couldn't move the lift.
Philbin asks, is it magical, or why couldn't you move it?
Needs 2 people.
oh, okay.
And I'll I'll add 2 Aldrin. It would take at minimum 2, but these things are pretty big. It looks like from the number of spokes, a full team is like 12 people. Anyway, go on.
Lee maybe should assist. You two are both strong.
I mean,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, guys, I'm really strong. I can do this. I don't know. I can't do Lee. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just becomes a caricature. Yeah, we can do it. Let's go, Aldrin.
I mean, I think it's time. In all honesty, I think it's time to ditch this plan. Oh God, I don't.
So eager to ditch plans.
We could wake up the guy who was supposed to be doing this job and ask him how we do it.
And Aldrin, too, remember, or I'll remind you, you saw a bunch of guys standing around it. Like, they look ready to do it, but, you know, maybe if somebody told them to do it, probably do it.
Somebody
Hmm.
who's dwarvish.
Yeah. Someone not with a giant hump on their back.
Lee goes, well, obviously we need me to do it.
I mean,
Nope.
yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
Lee looks at Ormus.
I do think it might not be a bad idea to ask the guy who's actually supposed to be doing this how we do it, and maybe have a bit of an interrogation with.
I mean, I don't know how we're supposed to wake him up.
I got good berries, or I could just, see if I can make him feel any better. Do a general medicine check, maybe.
Yeah, you could.
I'm gonna gag him real quick before I do this, and then do a medicine
Alright.
check on him.
Do you have this guy bound and just like laying on the floor?
I mean, I guess
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Someone, in terms of the binding, roll a sleight of hand check to see how well you tie him up.
I
We
mean,
don't get that.
yeah. So, what is my sleight of hand bonus? Okay.
I doubt that he'd do anything with it, but it's information that's good to have.
19.
19. Okay, that's pretty good. All right. Yeah, so, I mean, he's just laying on the ground there. And you give him a good berry or do a medicine check?
I'm gonna save the good berry and do a medicine check. Also, I don't want to take off his gag.
All right, roll a medicine check, please.
Dirty 20.
Okay. You can tell in his gagged state, 1, he is conscious. That's good. 2, he's got some mild congestion problems. Like he seems to be almost wheezing a little bit now that you blocked his mouth. He seems to be breathing mostly from his mouth. He might have allergies. But anyway, he is just there. In terms of trying to wake him up, this bro is pretty unconscious. And maybe magical healing or something similar, but otherwise, he's not going to wake up for at least a long rest.
Okay, good berry it is then. I'm gonna shove one down his gob.
Okay. Do you try to cover his mouth immediately?
Yes.
With what are you gagging him?
1 second.
Okay. Just curious.
I got some wigs. I don't need.
You put a wig in his mouth.
Oh, sure. Or like, I got some other clothing. I'll shove that in his mouth.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, just okay. Great. You are able to do that, but as you drop a good berry in, and kind of stroke his throat, get him to, mash his teeth against it, and you make him chew it up and actually consume it. He takes a yawn, but the gag gets him a bit, and he opens one eye, and he kind of opens the other one a little bit, and he kind of looks back and forth, and he's trying to move in his bonds while looking up at you all. And he's kind of making noise the entire time.
Hey, sorry for knocking you out, but could you give us a hand? We don't really know how to work the pulley thing to get the animals up for the feast. Can you promise me to be quiet for, not panic, okay? Above all, don't panic. Everything will be fine, okay? I'm gonna remove the gag slowly.
Your insight tells you that he does not look like he wants to cooperate.
Aw, heck. Lee Aldrin, since he doesn't look so happy about this, I think we gotta do this the hard way. Can one of you look intimidating for me?
Sure. I'm just going to loom behind Molly menacingly.
In your hunched dwarven form, or
Oh, I'll take off the illusion for a little bit.
because as you start to loom over, you can see him almost trying to shrink into himself as you're just this monstrous form of this disfigured dwarf. But then you take the hat off and you turn into your full self, and his eyes get wide as he's even more confused at this strange occurrence. Roll an intimidation, please.
That's not half bad. Intimidation. That is a 19.
He is at least quiet while staring at Algin. So that is a kind of improvement.
Okay, I'm gonna slowly remove the gag, and if he starts making a fuss, I'm gonna push it back in place.
He's just breathing, quiet, staring. His eyes, well, not so much staring, but his eyes darting Algin, Mollymort, everyone else. But in terms of everything else in his body, he seems tense, not moving.
Well, first of all, you need to clear your sinuses. So, I wish I had like some mint or something for you to breathe in or whatever, but that's not important right now. We got to get those animals up for the feast. So, can you tell us how to work the pulleys?
Roll a persuasion check, please. And I'll give you advantage because of the successful aid from Algin.
Not good with either roll.
Wonderful. What'd you roll?
Hold on, let me check if I got what I got here. Persuasion, you said?
Yes.
That'll be a 6.
All right. As you attempt your sort of good cop, bad cop, he looks at you, Mollymort, and he says, "You all knocked me out so you could just do my job? Why would you do that? Who even are you people?"
We
No.
are definitely crazy. Don't worry about that. Yes, that is definitely what we're doing.
Where did
So,
you come from?
We're the good guys. Don't worry about it.
I mean, that is a matter of perspective, Aldrin.
Am I hallucinating? They said that the pig fumes would get to me.
Are you gonna help us or not?
What?
You're hallucinating, and you need to describe your job to us in order to convince your body to do it.
He looks at Ormus, who is dressed as an infantry officer of the Morningstar Army, and he is wide-eyed a little bit more. and you can see that his own tabard was put aside before he was cleaning the animals to not get it entirely covered in shit, while he himself is covered in shit. But he is a lowly sailor. And seeing all of this, just he simultaneously nods and shakes his head for a second as he's just got so many conflicted thoughts, and he says, you go up and tell them we don't have flags on this level, so you can just go up and tell them to raise it up. And I mean, they got it down here for the animals, and you can see him like try to point with his nose towards the thing, and he said, you just tell them to raise it up, and they'll take it up to the kitchens.
Thank you.
They should know that. I mean, they know to raise it up. I mean,
Time for
this
the
is yeah.
guys.
Good lad. I wouldn't have to kill you after all.
Well, yeah. I should hope not. Yeah, I mean, it's we making them stay out there to get them up here now. We got to get the animals up, and then we got to get the extra wood up, and then we got a big day. And he's nodding.
What's the big day?
He says that we're trying to get a blessing.
From who?
He says, well, all the old gods, I guess.
Why?
And he says too that he says I heard rumor that he says I heard rumor that they're trying to get blessings from even Torn the Great himself. Like he's a god now, or they're trying to make him a god now, or saying he's a god now. I mean, I don't really know what the difference is.
Well, he's dating a god now, apparently. But anyways, we gotta go take care of that then. So maybe you won't die. Hopefully not. Good luck, and I'll put the gag back in his mouth.
Okay. He's even more confused, but he doesn't resist the gag. He assumes that he did something to.
I pat his head, kind of comfortingly, in an attempt to be comforting.
He feels oddly comforted.
Okay, guys, let's go.
Alright.
Is Lee the only one who speaks Dwarvish here?
Philbin speaks Dwarvish.
I speak Dwarvish.
Duh. Okay then. You guys go ask for them to raise the thing.
Lee will nod and pat his goat, who also understands Dwarvish, and Lee will begin to go up the stairs. Does anyone else? Everyone else just waiting on the elevator?
Yeah.
After a few minutes, the elevator begins to rise, and it goes up one level. And as it starts to go through that level, you can see there's a lot of cargo here, and it looks like, as you begin to rise, that there are a couple of dwarves that are preparing. It looks like pallets, in a sense, of raw timber. And I'll add, too, that there's a bunch of dwarves preparing this timber. Not all of you are disguised as dwarves. Just saying.
I'm hiding.
Guys, if we successfully poison anybody, and the captain does his usual, like, I'm gonna wait for everybody first to see if the poison deal, I have the best idea in the world.
Before the elevator starts moving, I'm gonna put the hat back on
Okay.
and make sure my disguise is in place.
Okay. So, Molly Mort, if you could make a stealth check to hide behind some animals. And Ormus is disguised, Aldrin is disguised, Theon is, or not Theon, but Philbin is relatively disguised. Fionn, would you like to do anything to perhaps not be seen or not be concerned if anyone sees?
Well, this guy's self lasts for an hour, so
Oh, fair enough.
yeah.
But how tall are you normally?
7'10".
Yeah, that can get you down to a dwarven. So yeah, you're all relatively disguised, or relatively hidden. Let's actually see. Molly Moore, how's your stealth going?
Can I get advantage on that?
Yes, you've got all your elven shit on.
Same roll. So that will be 14 is all.
Wonderful advantage, more than enough to hide in the elevator, beasts and dwarves. And as this elevator reaches the cargo area, you can see a couple of them look over and say, "Come on!" Or well, no, you don't speak Dwarvish. Never mind. Philbin understands Dwarvish, and Fionn, you understand Dwarvish. In Dwarvish, they say, "Come on, hurry up! We got to get stuff to do."
Sorry, they were being particularly rambunctious today. And Fionn begins to start herding them out.
Well, on this level, the elevator's still moving up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then I'll wait then, because I misunderstood their prompt.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the elevator's just passing, and as the elevator's passing, they're like, "Hurry, we got to load stuff too." And then the elevator continues to go up to the next level. And this one, on this one, you can see a fellow that is presumably waiting for these, and he's got arms crossed, and he doesn't look happy. And basically, as it comes up, essentially, about time, but there's an expletive in there, a dwarven expletive, which are the dirtiest kind. But yeah, he says about time, and he starts to open the gate even before the lift is full into position and locked in position.
Real quick, do we have a general idea what Torn looks like?
You know what Torin the Third looks like, and you've seen some pictures, not so much pictures, but some sketches and paintings of Torin the Great that were, amongst other places, in the exhibit of his armor that you saw in the Museum of Ancient Wonders. So between the two, you get a rough idea of what Torin the Great's son and what Torin, your friend's father, looks like. But you don't actually know what he looks like.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Is human, dwarf?
Dwarf.
Oh, he's dwarf. Okay.
Yeah, everyone seems to be a dwarf here, including the ducks.
Cool.
All just super jacked squat animals. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. But the fellow that was angrily waiting for going on, and he smacks a goat in the ass and just tries to get it to go. It's like, come on, get him up, hurry up.
Yeah, it feels.
What took you so long? Who are you guys anyway?
We're new. We were being trained.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Sure you are. And he looks amongst you all, one to the other, and he says, and where's Nicholson?
Unfortunately, one of the animals kinda, well, it was sick or something. It fell over. He said he probably needed to tend to it.
He holds up a hand to stop you from talking, and he says, "Look, yes or no? Is he drunk again?"
Yes.
He starts rubbing his temple. He says, "All right, we'll deal with that later. Yeah, get him to the kitchens. Get him to the kitchen." And he's like pointing down the hallway while trying to rush you all along.
Out of character, I feel really bad for throwing him under the bus like that, but at the same time, like, if the fact that he said again made me be like, okay, this is an easy, no questions asked.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's built that kind of reputation already. And, he's already under the bus.
Yeah, it happens. As they're going along, the fellow that was very upset, presumably some sort of a chef or steward or butler, who knows what, what he's doing, activities director, whatever. He points to one of the larger boars and says, "That one." And then he sees Lee's goat and he goes, "Ooh, wow, that one definitely, yeah. Take those two up."
That one's actually a pet.
A pet?
She's with Fowl or whatever. I don't know what baby goats are called.
He's-
Kids.
Kids, right? I forgot that.
Yeah, it's more of a mount per se. For the hard times, it follows the guy around. I
He
said
says-
hard times. I meant battle times.
Yeah. He's like, "But it's a goat."
Yeah, it's weird. We don't really question it. He's just always been like that.
He says, "Look, if it's on this ship, it's Morningstar property. It goes up. Understood?"
Understood.
He nods. And he gets a couple of others have come along as well to help herd these animals along, and they're able to get them along the way. And he's trying to make sure that you keep one of the boars back that he said, and the goat, of course, on the elevator. And he says, "Yeah, just get him up to the top. Everything should be going around sunrise. All right." That's and he pulls out a kind of a pocket watch and he looks at it and he says, "Ooh, we are cutting it close. We only got a little bit of time here. Hurry up. We still got to get the logs up too. Hurry,
What's
get them up to the deck."
the feast for? I don't speak Dwarvish.
You don't speak Dwarvish, yeah?
Yeah. Got it. Let's Whew, yeah. Sorry. Let's get this done.
Okay. You're able to get back onto the elevator. You can see here that there's a. It looks like a difficult to describe. So I'm assuming everyone at some point has worked on vertical blinds. At some point, has had them where you pull a string and it rotates the blinds,
Yeah.
or a chain or something similar. It looks. It's basically you see two chains, and they seem to. The signage would indicate to you, Theon, that if you pull on one, it signifies that you want to lift up. And if you pull on the other, it signifies to lift down. And depending on how much you rotate it, it signifies how many floors you want to go.
Okay, the flag system. And he said we needed to be at the deck, right?
Yeah, he said take it up. That anything on this ship is Morningstar property. Take the boar and the goat up and hurry because we still need to load the logs. And everything's going to be starting around sunrise. And he seemed to be quite anxious by looking at his watch.
Okay, then I'll I guess just do the max because I assumed that it would be the maximum would be at the deck. So
all right, as you keep pulling it, you can see as it rotates, it essentially just keeps because as it rotates, it operates a sort of a gear system that just continuously adds up. And so it's just like 1 floor up, 2 floors up, 3 floors up, 4 floors up. And it keeps going until it gets to 0 floors up. If you keep going, it's 1 floor up, 2 floor up, 3 floor up.
oh, okay, then back down to whatever the second the one down from 0, the highest floors up we can go.
Okay, you pull it up till it gets to 9 floors up again. Signifying who knows how many floors up. But you're at 9 floors up. And the elevator almost immediately begins to lift again. And you all are able to ride this further up as it goes through 2 more floors before reaching the top deck. And when it gets up there, Lee comes over and says, well, no, I don't think Lee, but when you get up to the top, one of the guys operating the, sort of revolving drums says, you guys don't need to pull all the way up, okay? You're only going up 2. We can't even go up 9 more. Points up to stars, just shaking his head. You bunch of wise guys.
Look, I was in a rush. I got panicked. Okay, it was faster to just go back down than to go all the way back up on the thing. Let's just go. We're in a rush.
You can see him manually resetting the pulley system so that it reads 0 up or down, so that it indicates that it's not moving currently. And he's just shaking his head, whatever, essentially. But very quickly, the flags begin to read as negative, and he sighs again. And he says, all right, get off. We need to move it down.
Yeah, the feeling starts to hurt him off, and he whispers to Lee to keep an eye on his goat.
All right. You can see that they've got, on this very expansive deck, it looks like they've set up at least 6 large tables running lengthwise along each side of the deck. And on the front, there's a kind of altar, is the only way to really describe it. Well, not an altar per se, maybe like a plinth. A large, okay, most accurately, it looks like a stage, essentially. And that's on the very bow of the ship. Opposite of that, of course, is the large rises of the various quarters of individuals, up to and including a sort of palace. But you all are here. You can see that the sky is starting to just lighten a little bit as the sun is nearing its rise, as it approaches the horizon. Oddly enough, where the sun is rising, it's rising, or will be rising, in front of an area that just is slightly devoid of stars because of the whateverness going on elsewhere.
Just at a quick glance, does it seem like there's anybody that seems important, higher rank or anything like that around?
It looks like there's a bunch of people that are doing a lot of nothing, which means that there's almost certainly someone, or there's a whole bunch of people doing a lot of stuff. So there's almost certainly someone doing nothing watching you do it. And with a careful eye, you're able to see that, yes, indeed, there is someone overseeing the placement of the tables, and they seem to be getting more tables and more chairs out from where they have presumably had lifted them up from a different elevator further back, or perhaps have them in storage. It's tough to tell where they're coming from. But they're setting up, tablecloths are being set down and weighted down, strapped onto the tables, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. But there is someone overseeing them who has a very crisp uniform. I'll add, too, Molly Mort is sort of, I'm assuming she's hiding by clinging to you. So,
I would assume, and I'm kind of like, I'm bent over trying not to alter the image too much,
Mm-hmm. So depending on, how far and where you go and such, you might have to hide a Molly Mort, which is easier said, or rather, perhaps even easier done than said.
I think Fiona will stop the party and be like, hey, it seems like this is going to be the best place, if any, to start fighting. Should we do that?
What?
Because, that was our point, is to take out people here, right? Like,
Yeah.
try and bring down the ship. The only way we're gonna be able to do that is and of course, obviously, this is all kind of like whispered to the party as we slowly move forward.
You can notice the fellow in the crisp uniform is starting to walk towards you all. He's a little bit of a distance though, but he is clearly walking towards you all.
All right, so are we gonna start fighting, and are offensively based and let our spellcasters do as much damage to the ship? We only got a couple of seconds.
Sure.
So,
Philbin says, "Here now on the deck."
I mean, this seems as good a place as any.
I was thinking we were gonna start sinking the ship and then fight our way out, but
Well, I mean, like, we
Philbin
got-
says, "Philbin says that it will be suicide."
yeah, but like, our intention was to go deeper, and we're now on the deck.
And Philbin says, "Our only way out will be jumping over. Our only way out will be jumping overboard."
Well, we can breathe underwater.
Fair enough.
Let's not test our luck, though.
Okay, I just that's if the consensus is no, let's not fight, then let's not fight because I was just checking.
The fellow gets all the way up, and he goes to Lee's goat, and he says in Dwarvish, "Oh, this is exquisite! I didn't know we had this thing on board." And he's petting it, and Lee goes, "Oh, thank you. He's mine." Yeah, I've raised him. He's special. My good boy. He's like giving him scritches, and the goat's all, yeah, good attention. And he says, yes, that's wonderful. You've done a wonderful job. He can stay over there, and the boar as well. And he points over towards a pen near the stage. Lee doesn't want to, separate from his goat. I don't like playing Lee, and I don't like playing multiple NPCs.
Yeah,
I talk too much.
Or
Um,
pieces.
Or people. Good gravy. But Lee's like, oh, I mean, is he going to be okay over there? I guess it's a place to put him. It should be fine. He's kind of iffy, but all right, I guess. And the fellow nods and walks away. It seems like that's all he wanted to talk about.
mm.
Oh god, I really am at a loss for what to do now. Like,
All right, we got the animals up here. Let's head back below decks.
I look over at Lee and like, there's a chance that you might have to unsummon. I think Nasher is the one he has out.
Probably.
And it's probably going to happen because they clearly want Nasher for food reasons.
Why do you think that?
Well, they said it.
He looks over at him. He's like, well, I don't want to do that.
I know it sucks, but they're gonna know something's wrong when. We just have to play along until we start doing damage to the ship.
They're gonna know something's wrong when he disappears too.
Yeah, just let's head below decks and hopefully not be here when he disappears.
Yeah, let's start making our way below as fast as possible.
I mean, the mission with bringing the goats up and stuff was to poison them. That was our mission here.
Yeah, but that didn't necessarily work out, so.
Alright, let's head back below then.
You have a rough idea of where the kitchens are, at least.
Yeah.
But you can see Lee do in sign language "I love you" to the as you all before he goes out of view and you go below deck.
Oh god, this sucks.
How far below deck would you like to go? You know, it seems like the animals are at the sort of lowest deck, or the lowest that you found, and then there's sort of general cargo above that, and then service above that, and then two more decks that you're not familiar with above that, and then the top deck. And then that doesn't even touch the larger sort of crew quarters in the back.
I want to head as far down as possible. I want to head to the bottom.
Okay, you all can make your way back towards the animals if you like, the animal sort of quarters area.
Yeah, that seems like the safest bet. Yeah.
All right. You can certainly reach the bottom. In fact, this stairwell, as you reach it, as you get out, it's not the same sort of field animals that you saw before. There's actually a large aquarium here. You can see fresh fish and shellfish.
Hmm.
Yeah, they got quite a good variety of a diet here. It's pretty amazing. So as you all look and almost, is anyone surprised by the aquarium? Probably not. Whatever.
Oh,
I mean, I am. I definitely.
There's an aquarium. I thought it was really cool. Whatever.
yeah.
So-
I wouldn't expect there to be an aquarium on a boat.
I
but-
mean,
It keeps the fish fresh. Whatever.
Yeah.
So-
honestly, I was more speechless than anything. I was like, wait, what? That is.
You're
Yeah, aquarium on a boat, huh?
a big aquarium. So you're here. You're in a room with a big aquarium, and there's a bunch of shellfish and fish and eel and all kinds of other stuff. Anyway, you're here. What do you do?
Is there a way into the aquarium?
Yeah, you could just dive in.
I'm gonna dive into the aquarium.
Now, I have to ask what your intention is here.
I'm curious too.
I'm going to, because I assume there's glass, aquarium, and then outside wall of the ship, right?
Another descriptor would be that they have somehow built a pond into the bottom of this ship.
Oh,
It's a kind of it's a large top-down aquarium.
Okay,
Presumably, it doesn't look like it's for viewing. It looks like it's for leaving animals, like having fish and eel and shellfish survive before they're taken up for food.
okay.
But you can just dive in.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like against the wall type of aquarium.
No, it's like a pond, but it looks quite large.
Oh, then I'm just gonna go up against the wall, find a good spot,
Cannonball.
ask and make sure everyone's okay with this happening.
Yeah, Fion pulls the sword. He's like, yeah, let's do this.
All right, everyone, stand back a little bit.
What are you going to? What instrument are you going to use to do what I think you're about to do?
I'm going to cast Thunder Wave while I'm right up against the wall of the ship
Interesting.
to weaken the structure.
All right. It looks like everyone ready for this?
I guess so.
Yeah, Fion steps back because I assumed he was going to use a weapon to try and pry it open. Yeah, no, he steps back.
Yeah. As Halidrin reaches out his hand and
Actually,
fingertip. Oh, go on.
it's 6:58 now. Maybe we should come back on this next time.
Well, unfortunately, as Halidrin reaches out and puts his fingertips on the wood, just about to cast this in, Oramus, you feel instantly, you sense Hadram again. And you can sense him.
Oh my god, I just got the weirdest sense of like goosebumps when you said that. Like, I put that term like, oh, that was weird.
He's in this room. And
And whoa, wait.
What?
What happened?
Oh God, no. No more bad luck. No more bad luck.
you can see in a corner, sort of the room, roughly where you all came out, above it, appears a devilish creature with the tail of a scorpion and the wings of a bat. And it looks about the size of a large monkey, essentially. And it's clinging with all of its claws into the wood. And it's looking down at Ormus. And it says, "We could do this the easy way or the really easy way. But we are taking your soul." Alright. I think it being 7 o'clock, that's as good a time as any to stop.
Fuck!
You know what?
I am-
You know what? This works in our
Yeah,
favor.
I've done everything that I have. He's
Just
I haven't been disloyal.
Mephistopheles needs to calm the fuck down. Like, we have other shit going on.
I
You
mean,
know what?
it's like
This-
I've been loyal. He said, he did say he'll call upon me when he thinks I'm ready, but
Well, if you recall, in the contract you signed, it said that you would be loyal to him and you would work with him to overthrow Asmodeus, and that if you betrayed that objective, that you would surrender your soul. So
And I
either, yeah, you certainly haven't done anything that would be counter to that agreement. This seems pretty fucked up. You have no idea what he's doing.
Oh my god, is Asmodeus in fucking league with Tiamat right now or something? Like, what the fuck? Or I had that vice versa, Mephistopheles. Like, what the fuck?
You know what? This can work very easily in our favor. All we gotta do is
Look,
make
I'm not
sure
going
the
down with
dwarves
that.
attack them first.
All we gotta do is attack him first.
Well, have
make sure the door.
kill him. He'll send reinforcements. Make sure the dwarves attack the devil first. The inevitable devil that they send after us because an imp isn't good enough.
I don't know if anybody else listens to Greeting Adventurers podcast, but I'm getting strong flashbacks of one of the characters' catchphrases. We could use summon lesser demons.
These aren't demons, they're devils. The
Yeah.
devils pride themselves on being lawful and order and keeping their word. Contracts are extremely important to them.
Yeah.
For these devils, they need structure.
They're
Yeah.
also significantly stronger than the demons.
Yeah, it's I guarantee it's a thing of fucking Mephistopheles has gotten impatient.
Yeah.
Well, being in terms of the Mephistopheles, he's been a servant of Asmodeus for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years. It's hard to imagine that he all of a sudden became impatient.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he told me he'd call upon me when he thought that I was ready, and I figured he'd just have him come back, or come back, tell me, hey, he wants you, fantastic. Not all of a sudden take away my powers, give him back, and then send another demon. Like,
I know. It's messed up. Really messed up. I don't know why anyone would do that. It's terrible. It's ridiculous.
So, let's just kill Mephistopheles.
Either way, I ain't going out with that fight. I don't believe this Mephistopheles is.
I'm confident we can kill a Mephistopheles.
I'm not.
He's only what, like a CR 20 something? Like, we got this. It's fine.
We're level 10.
Let me see if I've got a stat sheet for Mephistopheles.
There's one in oh god, it's I think it's in Mordenkainen's. That's what it is.
It's certainly possible.
I know there's
CR30, you say? No, that's not. This is from a different version, I think.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Just use the Tarrasque's character sheet and flavor it devilish.
Same
So
thing.
it wasn't Habram that told me that, right? It was a different-
Hadram said that. Yeah, Hadram said
Oh.
that while looking at you.
I thought it was a different imp.
Nope. Hadram. Hadram in his full imp form.
And just for clarification, Havram is like, he's out in the open. It's not just Ormus that can see him. Like, there's an imp that
He
everybody
is.
can see now.
He is fully visible. Everyone can see him. He is clinging onto the sort of wall/ceiling corner of the room that you are in. And he's looking down, and he said Ormus. And that is the only devil that you see.
Well, it is
This fight's
Habram.
gonna
So, I mean, Mephistopheles must have.
This fight's gonna get real interesting real fast.
I made a contract. I gotta go.
Well, you made a contract to serve him, yes, but he's not keeping up his end of the bargain.
I mean, we could, if we really want to go technical, we could take this to Mechanus. We could take this to the Grand Court. The court in which all cases are decided.
Yep. You could even take it up, pull a Karen, and take it up with his manager. Because
Yeah.
if you think that Mephistopheles isn't following his contract, what devil would enforce a contract on Mephistopheles?
That's why I'm thinking that there has to be some sort of like alliance with somebody that we are unaware of that Mephistopheles has, and he's like that we're going against. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Alrighty.
All right.
Have a
Adios.
good night.
Yeah.
But
I'll catch
why
you guys.
now? Why now? Anyway, yeah.
I guess just because we're like in the final, you know.
Maybe. We'll see.
Well, anyways, adios, you guys.
Bye.
Okay, take care.